weeks remain in the Texas high school football regular season. The playoffs lurk. South Oak Cliff has already punched their ticket to the postseason. For Kimball, a win tonight clinches a playoff berth. Kimball and South Oak Cliff, Thursday Night Lights on the WFAA Digital Network, sponsored by Texas Health Resources. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Kincaide Stadium in South Dallas. Mike Leslie and Jonah Javad here with you this week for a good matchup in District 6-5A Division 2 and a little Halloween football for the fans as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope to see some costumes out there in the stands today. We didn't rock anything, I guess.
No.
Well, I got some 50 Shades of Grey going on right now with the outfit, but I think that's about it. Mike Leslie's going as himself.
Yes, very, very much no costume for me, unfortunately, this evening. These two football teams are trying to dress up like playoff teams. Sock has already clinched a playoff berth, but certainly wants to go on another deep run as they did last year. Kimball, a win this evening would clinch a playoff berth. A win next week would do the same. They're hoping they can just get that taken care of this week and be ready for the postseason.
Yeah, and these teams are very similar to each other in terms of they look run first, which is interesting because when you look at the key players to watch, they're going to take away the passing game.
Yes.
So it really might come down to the run game in this matchup. But looking at those key players to watch, Kimball has a 4-star prospect in Ishmael Ibrahim. He's got 21 offers, including the likes of Bama, Georgia, LSU, Oklahoma. The list goes on. Number 10 ranked cornerback in the entire country, Michael. So he's something special. And then on the other side, South Oak Cliff's got someone too.
Yeah, John Davis, their safety, 3-star recruit. He's already committed to Texas Tech, but had his fair share of offers as well. Ranked as a top 50 recruit in all of North Texas by Sports Day's rankings. He brings a lot to the table. And like you say, they're both, adept at stopping the passing game. The run game may be the bigger challenge this evening for each respective defense, but they can help in run support as well. Certainly John Davis can, coming up from that safety position and helping to siphon off whatever run threat may be coming from that Kimball offense. Let's get to the starters for this evening. First for the visiting Kimball Knights offense. Keith Hargraves, the quarterback. Brandon Epton, the stud running back in the backfield. Last week, 270 yards on the ground for Epton on just 12 carries, and he had 5 touchdowns. Really big night for him. Expect more of that from him tonight. Defensively for Kimball, certainly Ish Ibrahim, the player to watch, but a good linebacking core as well. Deontay Davis and Jai Mitchell work very well together. South Oak Cliff's offense, Cam Davis. You thought there was an impressive night last week from Kimball's running back Brandon Epton. Cam Davis last week, 305 rushing yards on 19 carries and 3 touchdowns. So the ground game for both of these teams works very, very well. Some talent on the outside, though, for Denaz Dunn, DeMarco Moon, and Lafayette Pate. Dunn is a former wide receiver for this team, replacing the regular starter for South Oak Cliff, Rodney Hudson. Defensively for Sock, this is where there's an awful lot of talent. Several college recruits on this side of the football. Jai Jones, their middle linebacker, a 3-star recruit. Raquan Pinkston in there as well. Jimmy Wyrick, a stud corner. Courtline Flowers, a 3-star corner. There is talent all over this unit for the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. Head coaches tonight for Kimball, head coach Henry Kofer in his 5th year, 29 and 26 in that span. And for Sock, Jason Todd, also in his 5th year, 43 and 12. A little Halloween football for you. Can Kimball put an upset scare into South Oak Cliff and clinch a playoff berth in the process? Kickoff is right after this break on the WFAA Digital Network. Thursday Night Lights, sponsored by Texas Health Resources, live from Kincaide Stadium in South Dallas. This is South Oak Cliff and the Kimball Knights in the second-to-last game of the 2019 regular season. South Oak Cliff won the toss and deferred tonight, so they will kick off. Kimball with the first opportunity to have the football, and you see South Oak Cliff with a little touch of red in their uniform.
That's a little bit of a message. We'll get to that in just a moment. Antonio Loya, though, set to kick it away for South Oak Cliff. Deep to return for Kimball, Brandon Epton Jr., and Jeremiah Payne here from Kincaide Stadium. Just about 15 minutes south of downtown Dallas. We got the skyline off to our left, all lit up, and we're ready for some football here as the kick is away from Loya down the far right sideline. Does stay in bounds, and Kincaide will try and return it, and a nice cutback across the 25 and across the 30, and a good start for Kincaide as Jai Mitchell gets out to about the 40-yard line. They're going to mark it, it looks like, at about the 37, 38-yard line, and that's where we'll see for the first time today, Keith Hargraves and this Kimball Knights offense. Brandon Epton, the back in the backfield with him. Jonah, 270 rushing yards last week. That in and of itself is impressive. The fact that he did it on 12 carries, though, blows my mind.
Well, it was a slop fest last weekend, but his head coach, Henry Kofer, said he calls him a special kid, and we'll see how special tonight. He's going up against a good defense. South Oak Cliff, obviously tremendous defensively last year. But according to Coach Dodd, better this season. We'll find out tonight.
It is Epton in the backfield with Keith Hargraves for the first play from scrimmage, 38-yard line, 1st and 10. Handoff goes to Epton, and before they can even get the snap off, it appears they're signaling timeout. Wow. Kimball. Not often you see a timeout called 11 seconds into a football game. You hear from our lead official this evening, David Tucker. Tucker's the crew chief, David Ross, Kelvin Rhodes, Kevin Stevenson, and Jamie Cantrell, our 5-person crew this evening. So a quick timeout there for Kimball. Just 11 seconds into the football game, they've wasted one, and it appears they've got things sorted out now.
I guess it's better than taking a timeout before the kickoff.
It's about the only thing it's better than, but hey, all that matters is Kimball's got things sorted out now, and they're ready for 1st and 10 from their own 38-yard line. Again, it is Hargraves in shotgun, Epton saddled to his right, 2 wide receivers to the top of your screen there, and Epton will get the handoff. They fake the reverse, and Epton falls down for about 2.
Looked like the exact same play that they were going to run before calling timeout.
Indeed it did. So we mentioned that South Oak Cliff has got a little touch of red. That is not commonplace. They are a team that is predominantly black and gold. The red tonight, I talked with their head coach, Jason Todd. I asked him, I said, what's the deal with the red? He said, it's kind of just a Halloween thing. The kids wanted to do something, dress up a little different than they normally would because it's Halloween here on October 31st, which seemed entirely plausible to me, as on 2nd down and 8, Hargraves takes the snap. Firing downfield, he's got a man in double coverage, nearly hauled it in, tried to find Jeremiah Payne, up the near sideline, just over his outstretched fingertips. So the story from Jason Todd was plausible. They just wanted to dress up on Halloween. I asked one of the players. He said, no, what's actually happening is that they're trying to actively show a lack of respect for the opponent. Maybe just send a little message before the game, and I think that was received because there was a little jawing before kickoff tonight.
Right, so South Oak Cliff is wearing some red as a shot at Kimball because that's the color that the Knights wear.
That's one of their normal primary colors, as you see on their helmet. A lot of pressure on Hargraves, flushed out of the pocket. Somehow dances free. He's still got space. Look at Keith Hargraves, and he's got the first down after all that.
Oh, my gosh. He should have been taken down twice, bounces away from pressure, and he's got the first down. That is an amazing play by Hargraves.
You got to look at the replay here.
Should have been
He's
down
got a defensive end all over his back. Vernon Henderson had him in his grasp,
and then he
spins out of that.
And he escapes Jai Jones, and he's no slouch either.
Jai Jones, a 3-star recruit. 13 different scholarship offers for Jones: Arkansas, Baylor, BC, Colorado, Georgia, Georgia Tech. The list goes on and on. LSU, Texas A&M. Couldn't haul in Keith Hargraves there, and it's 1st down and 10 for Kimball. Handoff goes to Epton once again. Scoots to the outside and lowers his shoulder for 3. Hargraves is a junior, 6'3", 185 pounds. Still early on in the process of trying to turn some college coaches' heads. The coaching staff for Kimball, head coach Henry Kofer and his group, they certainly believe that he's a Division I caliber player. The offers just haven't started rolling in yet. Showed a little bit of what he can do there on that 3rd down and 8 to pick up the first down.
Yeah, I mean, 6'3", 185, he's only going to get taller and bigger, and he's only a junior. And when you have athleticism like that and pocket awareness, I mean, yeah, of course, this guy's the future for him.
11 TDs on the year for Keith Hargraves. Trying to add to it perhaps on this series. This time a handoff, though, again to Epton, and able to fight his way for a few
testy.
more.
Big number 70 for Kimball. Had his helmet ripped off. That's LaDarrell Brown, the left tackle. You think Kimball enjoys that South Oak Cliff is wearing some red?
I can tell you this much: as I was down on the field earlier getting some shots for our open that you watched just a few minutes ago, folks sitting at home, and there were some moments where there was some jawing back and forth between some of the players that were still out on the field from Kimball after most of the team had gone into the locker room, and a couple of the kids from South Oak Cliff that were still getting warm for tonight's game. This is, as it's been described by Henry Kofer, this is a neighborhood game. Hargraves patient, now escapes the pocket again, and again he's got the first down with his feet. Across the 40 and down to the 36.
I'll tell you, I mean, Kimball's offense, it's humming along right now because of the feet of Keith Hargraves. We've talked about Brandon Epton before the game started, but right now it's the dual threat aspect of Hargraves. If they're able to get him going and let him open up the field, that will open it up for Epton. So the South Oak Cliff defense we've heard so much about getting put to the test here early on with quarterback runs.
Approaching 3 minutes in here from Kincaide Stadium. Mike Leslie and Jonah Javad here with you on the WFA Digital Network. Thursday Night Lights, South Oak Cliff and Kimball in a District 6-5A Division II battle. Upton with the handoff again, and he's got a big hole this time. Gets to the outside, runs the ladder across the 25, and he's got a first down again.
And that's what you have to look out for. I mean, when Hargraves is running for first downs, then you have to stay at home on him, and look at it, opens up. Beautiful gap block, and Epton takes it for the first down.
Down to the 24-yard line goes this Kimball Knights offense. South Oak Cliff coming in 6-2 on the year, 4-1 in district play. Kimball 6-2, 3-2 in district play. South Oak Cliff has clinched a playoff berth. Kimball, with a win, can clinch a playoff berth, and it's been an impressive opening drive of the game, and that one, Epton just lost his footing. He had the opportunity to get to the corner and just couldn't keep his feet.
Coming into this one, I mentioned last week was a tough game for both these teams, dealing with the elements, but they were still successful offensively running the football. Coming into this one, I was real curious to see maybe there would be a regression. Maybe we would see more passing in this one. So far, we've seen one pass, and it's been all runs. Granted, we've only seen Kimball so far, but I think that's what we can expect from this evening's contest. That's what these teams like to do.
South Oak Cliff probably more rud heavy than Kimball is. As Epton gets the handoff, he's got a crease again down to the 15, very close to a first down once again. Looks like he'll be just a hair shy, and that'll set up third down and short, but just solid downhill running. There's a flag, though, down on the field, and we'll check the signal here from our referee this evening, David Tucker.
Holding, number 55, Kimball. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
So the hold goes against Jalen Mosley, the senior, right tackle for this football team, and that brings this one back. So what was very close to yet another first down in the red zone for Kimball now turns into second down, and it appears 14. They've got to get to the 14-yard line to pick up a first down, and they've got 2, perhaps 3 plays to do so, although they do have a very talented kicker in Victor Navarro, who's got range for days, has hit a 53-yarder in his career. So 3 points is certainly an option here as well if they can't pick up the first down. He's flushed out of the pocket as Hargraves and just has to throw it away to the near sideline. Officials being barked at by the near side South Oak Cliff coaching staff trying to figure out whether or not that ball got past the line of scrimmage. Little conference here at the 38-yard line between a pair of the officials. Crew Chief David Tucker part of that meeting, and it's very close as to whether or not it got to the line of scrimmage. They have not thrown a flag yet, and they're saying no flag, just a straight-up incomplete pass, and it'll be 3rd and 14.
3rd and 14 for a team that likes to run the football. I mean, penalties are bad for any team. They're especially bad for a team that likes to be run first and run second.
Yes.
Because then the defense can really pressure you in this situation here on 3rd and long.
Let's see what Hargraves has here on 3rd down and 14. Rolls to the near side. He's got 2 wide receivers on this side. He's pressured and just has to throw it in the dirt in the general direction of Jeremiah Ross, but incomplete. And that'll set up 4th down and 14 and what appears to be our first opportunity to see number 80, Victor Navarro, a senior kicker. Again, has hit a 53-yarder this year. One of the more talented kickers across the entire state of Texas. And he's going to line up here for what will be, it appears, a 45, perhaps 46-yard field goal, depending on where they drop the block. Looks like it'll be right at the 35-yard line. So a 45-yard field goal for Victor Navarro out of the hold of Gerald Monroe to give Kimball an early lead. Kick is on the way. Yes, sir. Through the uprights, and it's 3-0 Kimball here, just approaching midway through the first quarter.
So good news for Kimball. They get points on the board. But that really does feel like a disappointing drive for the Knights. I mean, you're rolling offensively, moving the football, running it effectively, and to some degree with ease. And then that holding penalty sets you back 10 yards, puts you in 2nd and long, and then 3rd and long, an obvious passing situation. The Knights threw the ball 3 times, completed none of them. So, I mean, this is going to be a difficult game for them, especially if they fall behind. So now we get to see what the Kimball defense can do against a South Oak Cliff offense, which is much like Kimball's.
Yeah, I mean, that drive, it all falls apart with the holding penalty. They were going to have 3rd down and less than a yard.
Yes, and that's why it sounds so cliche when coaches say it, right? But it's true. I mean, these are little things. Turnovers and penalties, they add up, and right there you saw it. That looked like a drive that would end in 7 points for Kimball. Instead, it ends in 3.
Taking a look at our comment stream on Facebook Live, we do appreciate nearly 400 of you watching concurrently right now. That is one of the larger numbers we've seen all year, so we very much appreciate that. Please, all 388 of you right now, hit the share button if you don't mind. Let your friends and family know that you're watching the game and that they too can tune in and see a pretty good matchup here in District 6-5A Division 2 as we see South Oak Cliff possessing the football for the first time today on the kickoff return. It's Raphael Williams, and he's slung down just inside the 20-yard line. And that's where the Golden Bears offense will get to work. Quarterback Denaz Dunn, formerly a wide receiver for this team. In fact, the leading wide receiver for this football team in 2018. 424 yards and 9 touchdowns. Led the team in both categories. This year was again a very key weapon in the offense for the regular starting quarterback Rodney Hudson. But Hudson has been out with an ankle injury. Denaz Dunn inserted in the lineup as the starting quarterback. And that is who you see in shotgun here on 1st and 10 from their own 18-yard line. Cam Davis in the backfield with him, and beg your pardon, that's not Davis. Handoff goes to Raekwon Pinkston on the first play of the game, and he fights his way out to the 29, 30-yard line, and that will be a 1st down from the big linebacker getting the carry out of the backfield on the first play of the game. And South Oak Cliff already moving the sticks. Nice spin move by Pinkston to break through a tackle, and he took the defender for a ride. That was Brandon Epton Jr., the running back. Little role reversal there. Epton Jr. was literally being dragged for what was eventually a 1st down there for Pinkston, and he got the carry there again on the fresh 1st and 10, picked up about 3. So, Jonah, no surprise, as you mentioned earlier, 2 teams that like to run the football. That is predominantly what we have seen thus far, certainly from Kimball on that opening drive and here on the first 2 plays of the game from South Oak Cliff.
Yeah, and it's good news for the fans out there weathering the cold that this game might be over in 2 hours for them.
Already past the midway point of the first quarter. Now we see Cam Davis with his first carry of the day, and he's bottled up in the backfield, tried to break free, could not do so, taken down for a loss back behind the original line of scrimmage. Nice defensive pursuit from Kimball, and it will be 2nd down and long.
Oh, yeah, the Kimball defense has been doing its homework on Cam Davis.
I beg your pardon, 3rd and long.
Real quick burst guy. likes to start it, stop it. I mean, if you can set the edge against him, you've got a good chance of containing him. But if he gets to the sideline, he's got room. Goodbye.
On 3rd down and 11, rolling to the right and throwing on the near side, but nowhere for anybody to go. Raphael Williams made the catch out of the backfield, but he had no room. Denaz Dunn had no room in the backfield. And a 3, I beg your pardon, not quite a 3 and out. They did pick up that first down on the very first play of the possession, a 4 and out for all intents and purposes from this South Oak Cliff offense. Kimball with a very impressive start.
Yeah, that's a nice performance by the Knights there. I'm curious to see how these two coaches, though, as this game progresses, starts to throw some wrinkles into their offense, because if we knew the scouting report for these two teams coming in, I'm sure they did as well. So there's got to be some sort of changes made over the course of this game where maybe it's some deception. We've been seeing a lot of RPO from Kimball early on, but we haven't seen them really pull it back and throw it. Mm-hmm. If they get back to their running game, which was so successful on the first drive before the penalty, we're looking at a big play action pass at some point in this game, I think, from the Knights.
Timeout called by South Oak Cliff there before they punt the football away. These are two teams that are at the top of District 6-5A Division II. The very best team in this district this year is Red Oak, a team that has fought their way into the top 10 in the entire state in 5A. Very, very talented football team that beat South Oak Cliff 28-21 earlier this season. By the way, that was the first district loss for South Oak Cliff since 2013. Wow. They had won 36 consecutive district games in between. But it's Red Oak at the top of this district. South Oak Cliff, it certainly appears, the second best team in this district, and Kimball fighting for 3rd or 4th. Nice move here to break free, and there's a lot of, barely tripped up. There was a lot of room for Gerald Monroe, their slippery little slot wide receiver, a good punt returner as well, as you just saw there. He's able to get to the 45-yard line.
Look at the hands on this catch. I mean, I thought for a second he would fumble this, but he snags it and evades the tackler. Wow.
And then that cut right there left 3 defenders.
He should have been gone right there, but he got arm tackled by the shoulder, and that just tripped him up. Wow.
Only just barely.
Still great field position for the Knights here as they go back to work.
46-yard line of South Oak Cliff territory, and Hargraves hands off to Epton. They fake the reverse once again. We've seen that motion a couple of times from them early on in the football game. Jeremiah Payne coming behind the formation, but it's Epton carrying for, we'll call it 2.
Yeah, we noticed on that first drive, once Hargraves got free and picked up a couple first downs with his feet, that allowed Epton to then succeed rushing the football. So maybe we'll see more designed runs from Hargraves.
2nd down and 8 now. We do appreciate you joining us here on the WFA Digital Network. Kimball and South Oak Cliff. Kimball in the road whites, as Epton gets the handoff once again, and again fights his way through to the second level. Looked like he had no room, Jonah, and somehow gets his way through out to the 40-yard line.
They've only run the ball, I think, once to the right, and that was where they had the holding penalty. So they're really just working it on the left side with LaDarryl Brown, the left tackle there, and Phoenix Perkins, the senior left guard.
LaDarryl Brown just coming back off of an ankle injury, but an important piece of this offensive line. Having him back out on the football field is definitely an important thing for this team. Jeremiah Wallace, also a talented offensive lineman. He's out there on this particular play as it is 3rd down and a long 4 for Hargraves at a shotgun. 3 wides to the near side of the formation. Pressure in his face. They set up the screen to Epton, and he's taken down. He fell down. Beg your pardon, it wasn't Epton.
Jermias Johnson.
And Johnson had to dive to at least attempt to make the catch. Did he even haul it in? Looks like maybe they gave him a half yard on the reception and fall down right at the 39-yard line. And that is all they were able to manage there, so it's now 4th down and 4, and a decision here for Kimball head coach Henry Kofer. It appears his offense is staying on the football field, at least as of right now.
Yeah, I don't mind the play call there for the screen.
Yeah, the pass was just a little bit too wide intended for Jermias Johnson. If it was on target,
Yeah, I mean, he's a cutback, one cut away from a 20-plus yard gain there. I mean, Jai Jones did get off his block, though, and looked like he was going to blow that play up regardless, but Kimball doesn't appear, at least, from the discussions we've had, seem like a team that's going to launch it downfield all game. We're not going to see that. We'll see some screen passes. We'll see if they throw, they need to. If they're trailing in the game, but they're a methodic approach offense. So a lot
here's
of runs,
a good example
lot of
for you.
Stretch runs.
They've played 8 games. They've thrown the ball 120 times.
Yeah.
That's certainly not a large total, certainly not in Texas high school football. So they will punt the ball away. There was a penalty there on that third down play that was declined by South Oak Cliff, and Lafayette Pate punts it away, fielded inside the 9, and nowhere for him to run. Taken down at the 12-yard line. The punt return by Jimmy Wyrick. Give him 3 yards, and South Oak Cliff with possession number 2 starting from the 12. Seeing some comments in the Facebook feed here asking about the red that we're seeing from South Oak Cliff.
I was just about to say that because it's throwing me off, man. I thought we were watching Cedar Hill like 3 times over the course of this game. Folks, Cedar Hill is not playing on your Facebook Live right now. This is a game between Kimball and South Oak Cliff. Let's get that straight, first of all.
1st and 10 for South Oak Cliff from their own 12-yard line. As again, it's Denaz Dunn out there in shotgun. Handoff up the middle for Cam Davis, and he's swallowed up after a pickup of 2. Travion Dawson there to finish him off.
Kimball didn't do anything for Halloween, did they? I saw they had a couple masks pregame.
They had the masks pregame. That's about it. Yeah, but the masks were created. You can't go back and watch it now since we are live. For those of you that are watching the live stream on Facebook or on YouTube, wherever you may be joining us this evening, we appreciate it. Go back and watch the start of the broadcast later tonight. Once we've gone off the air, it'll stay up in perpetuity, and you'll be able to watch it as Davis takes the handoff. Nice jump cut to the outside. He's got some running room. He's got the corner, but he's finally taken down at the 35. He may have stepped out of bounds. It looks like they're marking him at the 29. But a nice run by Cam Davis to pick up the first down and a nice cut to get to the outside right there.
Oh, you just cannot let him get outside. That's with his speed and his quickness. And that's going to be a gain of 10+ every time he gets to the edge.
This time Dunn's going to keep it himself. Maybe gets 2. Talked about the lack of throwing from Kimball. Their quarterback, Keith Hargraves, does have the ability to throw the ball downfield, and we'll see some of that. You'll probably see less of that from South Oak Cliff with Denaz Dunn in. Not that he doesn't have, I don't mean to be criticizing Denaz Dunn's downfield throwing ability, but he's a wide receiver playing quarterback out of necessity. Rodney Hudson, their starter, is injured and has been out for the last few games. So Dunn in there in his place here on 2nd down and 8. They will go to the air here. Now he scrambles out of the pocket, fires downfield, into traffic, nearly intercepted. Falls harmlessly incomplete, but Ismail Ibrahim, we told you about him off the top of the broadcast, our player to watch tonight for Kimball, nearly coming up with the interception there.
Yeah, that almost fell into his lap there. It looked like Dunn was looking for his buddy Ralph Williams.
He had 2 chances at it, couldn't quite haul it in. And it will be 3rd down and 8.
Got to give credit to Dunn, though. I mean, moving from his natural position of receiver to quarterback, that's a selfless move from a kid who's getting offers to be out as a receiver.
Dunn rolling to the right here on 3rd and 8. Quick throw to Raphael Williams. Did he stay in bounds? Yes, he did. Oh, perhaps he did not. No, they are going to mark him out of bounds and just shy of the first down marker at the 38-yard line. They had to get to the 39, and it will be 4th down and 1. We'll see whether or not South Oak Cliff elects to punt the football away here late first quarter. 1:48 on the clock in the 4th. 3-0 Kimball, our score here in the early going. For those of you that are watching on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you may be, please drop a note in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from and who you're tuning in to see. We often get fans from all around the country, Ohio and Florida, whatever the case may be. But they are going to go for it here on 4th down and 1. Handoff up the middle, and no doubt he's got the first down and drags tacklers all the way out to the 49-yard line. And South Oak Cliff moves the sticks on 4th down and short. And once again, it's the big linebacker, Raekwon Pinkston, with the carry.
Well, you need a yard. I know you got Cam Davis, but he's 5'9", 170. You want to leave no doubt about it. Give it to the big fella.
Pinkston quite a bit larger. Plays even bigger than he is. 1st and 10. Some indecision there from Denaz Dunn, and he's taken down in the backfield. A big loss on the play. He was riding the ball in the hip of Cam Davis all the way down the line of scrimmage and made a decision too late, and Kimball's defense able to swallow him up.
I'm seeing moments from Kimball's defense just staying at home on these runs and taking away the quarterback and the running back's options. I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to in this one. The passing game has not been successful for either team.
2nd down and 13 for Dunn. He's going to have to throw it here on 2nd and long. Rolls to the right. Got pressure in his face. Trying to outrun it. Spins his way back to the line of scrimmage, but no further. And it's going to be 3rd down and long. Seen in the comments, we've got the estimable John McCain. John McKay. Somebody called him John McCain in the comments, and it confused me. John McKay, our former WFA main anchor, watching tonight on Facebook, so we appreciate that. Gary Griffith accidentally referred to him as John McCain in the comments. Sorry, John, we do appreciate you watching, even though I butchered your last name there. I haven't forgotten you. I know it's only been like 6 months. We haven't forgotten you, I promise. 3rd down and 13, and that is the end of quarter number 1. 3-0 in favor of Kimball. A slow start for South Oak Cliff. They do have the football now here in the, their 3rd drive of the game, but facing 3rd down and 13 as we hit the first quarter break. Again, a lot on the ground, what we've seen so far in this football game from both of these offenses. For Kimball, it has worked. For South Oak Cliff, they're still trying to kind of work the kinks out.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are just trying to figure out, what's going to be the way that this game kind of breaks through for them, because as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, I think everybody who knows anything about both of these teams knows what the strengths and the weaknesses are, and they're taking away the strengths and trying to exploit the weaknesses. They're very evenly matched teams in terms of they like to run the ball. They're pretty gap sound defensively. And so when those two things meet and the defense is having more success, you're going to get a low-scoring game. Right now it's 3-0, and I've got a feeling it's just going to be a fast game unless one of these teams just forces a turnover or something and turns the game on its head. But that's the way we're looking right now, is this is going to be a grind.
Kickoff was just a couple minutes after 7 o'clock. It's only 7:32, and we're already through 1 quarter of play. As on 3rd down and 13, a little misdirection in the handoff to Cam Davis. Kimball's defense not fooled. They are all over him. Can he escape out the left side? No, he can't. Pushed out of bounds, deep in the backfield, and yet again, Kimball's defense makes a stop. What a start tonight for the Knights. Their defense has been everywhere.
Yeah, what do you think they talked about all week? Don't let 25 get in the open space. And this is, I think, the 3rd run for a loss that Davis has had in this game so far.
And that sets up 4th down and a mile. 4th and 16 it will be officially called, and they will have to punt the football away. Lafayette Pate, the punter for South Oak Cliff. Jeremiah Payne deep to return. Beg your pardon, it's Gerald Monroe once again. Ball hits at the 30 and bounds inside the 25-yard line, and that's where we'll see once again Keith Hargraves and company in possession of a 3-0 lead here early on in quarter number 2 from Kincaide Stadium in South Dallas. This is a meeting that has been, frankly, dominated by South Oak Cliff over the course of the last decade. Kimball has won twice. They won in 2010 and in 2012. Every other year, 2011, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and last year in 2018, South Oak Cliff won. And for the last 4 years, it has been rather lopsided. 56-7 a year ago. 26-6 wasn't too bad in 2017, but 44-3 in 2016, 62-7 in 2015. This has been all Golden Knights every year, but a very nice start for Kimball. And look at this, Brandon Epton bowling his way across the 35 and a 1st down run on the first play of the drive.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, if Kimball is able to hang on. We're still a long, long ways away from that.
No doubt, yeah.
I mean, these teams will have the same record in district play at 4-2, and Kimball would have the edge with the overall record. So a tide possibly starting to turn this year. Plenty of game left to go, but Kimball's starting to put it together. And we focused on the player to watch earlier on Ismail Ibrahim defensively. But this is, again, we keep coming back to the run game. But when they're able to move the ball on the ground, they're a very difficult team to stop.
First down and 10 from their own 38 now as Kimball comes out of the huddle. 10:42 second quarter. 3-0 in favor of the Knights. Hargraves out of shotgun, 2 wides to the top of the formation, hands off to Epton once again. Nice little hesitation, and he's through the hole. Epton into the clear. Epton's got the corner and runs out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. Brandon Epton Jr., 270 rushing yards a week ago on just 12 carries, and a very nice start tonight. But a flag down after all of that at the 48-yard line on South Oak Cliff side of the field.
Oh, Blue, don't do him like that.
And everybody's walking back toward the Kimball Knights side of the field. We'll see what David Tucker has to say about this play.
Holding. Number 12, Kimball. 10 yards from the spot of the 5.
Perhaps the saving grace for Kimball is that the hold itself happened so far downfield that where they place the ball, it'll still be second down and reasonable. It'll be 2nd and 6 here from the 43-yard line. Beg your pardon, 2nd and 5, because they've got to get to the 48.
I don't care if there was a holding. That was a real special run by Epton.
It was.
You don't see a lot of juniors take that brief pause in the backfield to hit the hole.
And I beg your pardon, 1st down and 5. Hargraves is going to throw for it, looking deep downfield, into single coverage, leaping for it but can't make the catch. That was Monroe, the mighty might, as Henry Kofer calls him. 5'9", 165 pounds is what he's listed at. Coach Kofer said realistically he's more like 5'6", 5'7". But he's already made some plays in the punt return game and tried to sky for the catch here down the right sideline.
Yeah, you used the word slippery to describe him earlier. I think that's accurate. Now, I don't know about a jump ball for a kid who's 5'9", respect, but maybe get him open on a slant or something and see what he can do in the open field. He's already shown his elusiveness on the punt return game.
Especially given you've got 6'5" sophomore Kyron Henderson on the other side. Handoff goes to Epton here on 2nd and 5. He's loose again into the secondary, and it's a foot race to the pylon. Brandon Epton Jr., touchdown Kimball.
Ball don't lie. Give me all your holding penalties.
There are no flags.
What a great run by Epton. Going back to that, a similar call that they had a couple plays ago. And I think right there, you see the patience, the size, the breakaway speed, and there is a reason this kid is getting more and more looks at the Division I level. Definitely a name to keep an eye on over the next year and a half.
57 yards to pay dirt. And Brandon Epton puts his team in front 9-0. Out comes Navarro to make it 10-0. And he does exactly that. A fantastic start for the Kimball Knights here 14 minutes into this football game. Not what I think anybody in this building was expecting tonight. We talked with a gentleman who led us into the building tonight, and he was already 5 hours before kickoff was predicting that South Oak Cliff was going to win tonight and was going to eventually pull away from Kimball. Here in the early going anyway, a very good start for the Knights.
Yeah, he who shall remain nameless. Go talk to my guy at halftime and get his thoughts.
I mean, hey, we're still a ways away from halftime, so who knows how things may change.
Oh, yeah, 10-0 is nothing in football, especially in high school football.
But this is a dream start for Kimball. There's no doubt.
100%. With either of these teams, they're not situated to play come-from-behind football. You're a run-first. It's like the Cowboys. You're a run-first football team. You need the lead so you can milk the clock and just grind the football downfield. maybe I'm not here to take shots at the 2019 Cowboys that they can't throw the ball. They can throw I'm just saying, you pay all that money to Zeke Elliott. Yeah. All right.
Brandon Upton Jr., a 57-yard touchdown run up the right sideline to make it 10-0 in favor of the Kimball Knights here just a couple minutes into quarter number 2 on Thursday Night Lights. And South Oak Cliff now, as you mentioned, not a team that's necessarily built, same with Kimball, that they can come back from big deficits. So they're facing a little bit of a hole here early on. This might help, though. A nice kickoff return from Cam Davis as he's loose across the 50, dragging tacklers still down to the 40-yard line on Kimball's side of the field. Cam Davis can do it more than just out of the backfield.
5'9", 170 pounds, and he dragged 2 or 3 defenders for an extra 10 yards. And you know why? Because he keeps his feet moving. It's a thing that a lot of young running backs don't do for whatever reason. They just go down. He grinds out almost 15 yards from just pedaling.
Mm-hmm.
Real strong run from the junior, or return, I should say.
55-yard kickoff return to get out to the 40-yard line. His head coach, Jason Todd, said he's just like a little jitterbug back there. And we saw that on the kickoff return, and now he's back out there. But the handoff this time goes to Ralph Williams, and he fights his way. Talk about dragging the pile. He's out to the 30-yard line, and certainly very close to a first down. If he doesn't have it, it's not by much. And they will indeed move the sticks. Fresh first down out to the 30, down to the 30-yard line in Kimball territory already. So we mentioned that the South Oak Cliff needed to find an answer. Already seemingly well on their way. First and 10 from the 30-yard line. Dunn in shotgun. 2 backs saddled behind him. Handoff goes up the middle for Ralph Williams, and he's into the clear. Ralph Williams, end zone.
What a response from the Golden Bears.
Flag flies in after the play. May have been a celebration penalty on South Oak Cliff. We'll check that. But Ralph Williams right up the gut. He was one cut, and by now he's gone.
Yeah. The moment he got to that second level, he was gone. Seeing a steady dose of Ralph Williams this evening for Sock. Passing game.
We do have the signal here from our official, or at least it's coming.
After the touchdown, we have an unsportsmanlike penalty on number 3, Sock. The penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So Sock will be kicking off from 15 yards back after the unsportsmanlike conduct call from David Tucker, our referee this evening. But first, an extra point coming from Antonio Loya, the junior kicker. But a very nice run before the penalty from Ralph Williams, the senior, a kid who's been used in a variety of different ways by this South Oak Cliff offense. Extra point is up and through, and it's 10-7. 9-10 to play.
Yeah, we've seen
in the first half.
Yeah, we've seen an assortment of runs from Sock offensively. From Ralph to Cam Davis. I think that diversity will help them, at least as this game continues on. Sorry, I'm trying to move back here. got a cord attached to me. Thank you, sir.
9-10 to play here, second quarter. Kimball with a 10-7 lead over South Oak Cliff on the WFA Digital Network. We join you
we're
in the
people.
booth here.
Yeah, we're not robots.
Nice start for Kimball, but a nice answer from South Oak Cliff that they needed to find, because this game was the first quarter and change was, we mentioned it was a dream start for Kimball. It was kind of a nightmare start for South Oak Cliff.
Yeah, and they do it on the ground. Again, it's the strength of both teams, both touchdowns, both rushing touchdowns. I'm just glad it's a close game. I thought coming into this there was a shot that there could be a blowout from Sock's end, but Kimball has shown up, ready to play, real good defensively. Aside from that last drive, I think that kick return really gave them life.
And speaking of showing out, how about our viewership right now? 454 of you concurrently watching the game right now.
Yeah,
we do appreciate that quite a bit.
Warm and cozy.
As the kick goes out of bounds, so if there wasn't enough penalization after the touchdown, now you'll have another penalty for the kick going out of bounds. And It will be up to Kimball whether or not they want to force a re-kick or take the yardage here. We'll hear from David Tucker once again. We've seen quite a bit of the gentleman in the white hat. Still sorting things out.
Kick out of bounds. Stop, number 21. Penalty 30 yards from the kick. It'll be.
So after all of that, it will be Kimball football at their own 45-yard line. So excellent field position for Keith Hargraves and company in possession of this 10-7 lead, but now needing to find an answer because South Oak Cliff did finally kind of start to get things going there on that last possession.
Knights first and
Hargraves in shotgun here on 1st and 10 from his own 45. Epton in the backfield with him as per usual, and as per usual he gets the handoff, and he picks up about 3 as he fights his way forward. Catrice Hines mentions in the Facebook comments that it's cold outside. Indeed it is. We do appreciate you guys joining us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live, wherever you may be joining us. We appreciate your viewership, and please hit that share button. Let your friends and family in the South Oak Cliff community, in the Kimball community, know that they can tune in and watch the game as well. And again, please drop a note in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from, whether it's right here in the DFW Metroplex or if you're further afield than that, watching maybe a nephew or a grandson or whatever the case may be here on the WFA Digital Network. 2nd down and 8 for Kimball's offense. Hargraves trying to go to the air, forced out of the pocket, fires downfield into traffic, and it falls harmlessly out of bounds. Gerald Monroe was looking for a whistle, but that ball wasn't catchable.
Yeah, not at 5'9".
You're hating on our short man tonight.
Listen, I'm 5'10". I'm not one to talk, all right? But the jump ball, we haven't seen one jump ball to the kid who's 6'5". I'm waiting on it.
And they've got Kyron Henderson is not just 6'5". He's 6'5" and has some skills. He's a young man that Ohio State was in the office inquiring about earlier this week. Same can be said for Brandon Epton. They had an Ohio State scout in the office earlier this week talking with their head coach, Henry Kofer. And those were 2 of a number of kids that he was interested in. 3rd down and 8, and nowhere to go for Keith Hargraves. Taken down in the backfield. The defensive front from South Oak Cliff all over him. Jalen Alexander finishing him off. Right in his face immediately. Frankly, Hargraves is lucky he held on to the football there.
The passing game is just not working for either team today. I don't know what to tell you.
It's just not.
Just run the ball. Every time that either team drops back, it screams potential interception or a fumble or a penalty. It's just these two teams are built to run.
As a result, it's 4th down and 17, and they'll have to punt the football away. Mylan Johnson, the punter for Kimball. First time we're calling his name tonight. Nice spiraling kick down inside the 30-yard line and a very nice bounce down inside the 20. Checks up at the 17, and that's where South Oak Cliff will get back to work.
Yeah, we'll get a little testy there at midfield.
There have been some moments, some contentious moments between these two football teams so far tonight. No surprise, 2 teams that know each other very well, and there's a lot of friends, on each sides of the field. These kids have known each other for years, have played together for years. We mentioned earlier that South Oak Cliff has had the upper hand, and in many of those years by a wide margin. The fact that this is a football game right now, a quarter and a half in, is, I think, probably exacerbating the, tense nature of this football game so far, because South Oak Cliff isn't particularly used to this. Trailing 10-7, but they have the football back now. Dunn in shotgun. Sends a man in motion. That's Ralph Williams, who scored the touchdown on the last offensive play for South Oak Cliff, but the handoff goes to Cam Davis, and he's loose. Cam Davis into the secondary across the 40. Davis across midfield, and finally dragged down out of bounds. Jai Mitchell able to end a very long run for Cam Davis.
Great blocking up front. Just plenty of open space, and when you give Cam Davis that much wiggle room, he's going to torch you. Huge gain.
out across midfield, and he's going to get the football again from the 47-yard line, and this time able to fight his way for 5. Seeing multiple comments in the Facebook feed about the fact that South Oak Cliff is wearing red. I'm seeing one comment from Genesis Rainey saying that they ran out of gold. What's actually happening here is, you guys all know, it's Halloween tonight. South Oak Cliff wanted to do a little dressing up, and the way that they decided to dress up was in the opposing team's color to send a little message to the Kimball Knights. But so far, anyway, Kimball has responded, holding a 10-7 lead midway through quarter number 2. We'll see if Denaz Dunn and company can change that here. Dunn's going to leave, looking deep, but he's taken down in the backfield. Ball almost came loose, but coming through for the sack is Travion Dawson.
Yeah, you want to talk about the ball almost popping out. That was good protection there to at least avoid the fumble. That was real close.
Dawson beating the left tackle Vernon Henderson around the corner and getting home to Dunn, and that sets up 3rd down and 13.
That's a huge play.
I mean, how many times have we said it already tonight? Getting behind the sticks is a problem for each of these two.
Yeah, if you put either of these teams in 3rd and 10 or more, it becomes real problematic for the offense.
We'll see what they can dial up here for South Oak Cliff on 3rd and 13, trying to dial up a screen. Tipped, but caught, and nowhere for him to go. That tip probably threw off whatever timing may have been there for South Oak Cliff's Keandre Hollywood. And it goes down as a loss, 4th down and 15. Nice pursuit
by Dawson again. Yeah, Dawson comes in, deflects it. Actually, a great play by both sides there. The wherewithal from Davis to at least reel it in, but Kimball staying home. And once again, a 3rd and long turns into a 4th and long.
Bryant Simmons there to finish him off as well, and that sets up yet another South Oak Cliff punt. Gerald Williams back to return again, but this one's going to check up short of him. Bounces inside the 20-yard line and falls dead at the 18, where we'll see the Knights offense once again. 4:42 to play, 2nd quarter. Mike Leslie and Jonah Javad here with you on the WFA Digital Network, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and WFA.com. Kevin Wayne saying in the Facebook comments, I believe is maybe talking about the red underneath South Oak Cliff's uniform, says it's an Oak Cliff thing. We're seeing another comment here from Toy Chanel. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, Toy. He says, like they do in Little League, wear the opposite team's color. There's definitely a message trying to be sent by South Oak Cliff tonight. And we'll see how Kimball responds to it here on the opening play of the drive as the handoff goes to Epton, and he's very crafty with the way that he's able to take advantage of small little bits of space and pick up yardage. There he picks up about 4.
I've been really impressed with his patience.
Yes.
I don't like to make comparisons with high school players to pros or college kids.
I feel like I know where you're going.
Because I don't think it's fair, but Le'Veon Bell,
yes,
one of the best.
That was where you were
one
going.
of the best running backs in football. What makes him so great is his patience in the backfield. He doesn't sprint to a block because he knows sometimes blocks need a split second to get set. And we've seen it a couple times with Epton this evening that he waits for the block to come and then hits the hole, and he's made for gains.
2nd down and 10. Epton off the field for the moment, and the handoff goes to Jermias Johnson. He's able to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage. That'll set up 3rd down and 6. Not the 3rd and long that we've talked about these two teams trying to avoid, but it is 3rd and longer than maybe you'd prefer to try and pick up on the ground, as we still see Brandon Epton standing on the sideline. So you'll wonder, what do the Knights dial up here with Keith Hargraves, their quarterback, on 3rd down and, we'll say, medium. Kimball calls timeout here. 3:20 on the clock, 2nd quarter. That's their 2nd timeout called of this opening half. Now, this is an important play here because you're going to talk about momentum going into halftime. South Oak Cliff gets the football to start the 2nd half.
Right.
You punt the football away here if you're not able to convert 3rd and 6. You give South Oak Cliff a short field. They've got 2 timeouts and roughly 3 minutes of clock to work with. Perhaps they can take the lead and then add to that after halftime. So if you're Henry Kofer, you're trying to avoid that eventuality here.
Not that there's been a whole bunch of scoring in this first half, but
True.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possession game, right? You want to have the most possessions or time of possession. 3rd and 6 is interesting because it's not quite 3rd and 14, which neither team has been able to successfully convert, but I'd really like to see a quarterback draw, like a designed QB run for one of these guys, because you see them in open space and they can complete it.
See what Hargraves has here on 3rd down and 6. Rolls to the right, fires deep down the middle of the field, wide open. Jeremiah Ross across midfield. 1st down and quite a bit more. And really, for the first time tonight, we've seen a team able to connect deep downfield, and it leads to a big 1st down here for this Kimball offense.
Yeah, longest pass play by a mile in this game. And look, he gets out of the pocket, plenty of space, no defender in his way, and wide open.
Down to the 46 on South Oak Cliff side of the field, and now kind of the inverse situation. Now Kimball looks like the team that may be able to find points before halftime as they're into South Oak Cliff territory. They've got 1 timeout, but 2:48's plenty of time. Handoff once again goes to Jermias Johnson, and he's maybe able to get back to the original line of scrimmage.
And a flag comes in.
Flag late after
Other side.
little extracurriculars after the play.
Little slap game in the
Courtline Flowers and Marion Williams involved in a little extracurriculars after the play. We'll see what they have to say. David Tucker and company still sorting things out.
I have a dead ball. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 16 on Kimball. That is his first unsportsmanlike of the half. 15 yards from the end of the run. 3rd down.
They always say the second actor gets caught, and in this circumstance, Marion Williams is apparently the guy who threw the, I don't want to necessarily say second punch, but whatever it was, he was the one who got caught on the back end of that interaction with Courtline Flowers, and it leads to a very big penalty there. 15 yards lost on that play, and that knocks him all the way back to the 39.
Oof. Now you get 2nd and eternity.
.236 on the clock here in the second quarter. 2nd down and 25. Hargraves will have 2 wide receivers to the top of the formation.
You wonder if they just try to pick up maybe 10 yards here on, whether it's a run or just get somebody quick out to the sideline. Put yourself in 3rd and manageable as opposed to 3rd in the field.
We did see a 3rd and 34 converted a couple of weeks ago. Bishop Lynch and Parish Episcopal, and now we're going to get word again, it appears, from our official, or at least it sounds like he's turned his microphone on. Now it's back off. All right, whatever.
It's the ghost. Halloween.
But yeah, we saw Parish Episcopal, Preston Stone, their everything quarterback.
Yeah.
Converted a 3rd and 34 against the Bishop Lynch offense a couple of weeks ago. Now, I don't think I'm besmirching Keith Hargraves by any means by saying he's not Preston Stone. Preston Stone's the number 2 dual-threat quarterback in the entire country for the junior class, so that's no slight against Hargraves. That's not who he is. But here he's taken down. Did he get the ball off? Flag flies. That's going to probably be for intentional grounding if he did get the pass off. Either way, it's going to be 3rd down and forever. And we go back to David Tucker. Mr. Tucker. Oh, there's Mr. Tucker's microphone. Just ever so briefly. With how much we've seen him tonight, it's kind of Mike Leslie, Jonah Javad, and David Tucker on the broadcast tonight. We've seen quite a bit of the officials this evening.
Our sideline reporter.
So that sets up 4th down, and they're calling it 25. Honestly, I'm not sure I can do math fast enough to figure out whether they're right or not, so I'm just going to trust them on it, and Kimball will punt the football away. Short kick fielded by Ralph Williams. Beg your pardon, that is DeMarco Moon, and he's taken down very quickly.
They want a face mask.
He definitely gets up holding his face mask, kind of signaling to the officials that it should have been a face mask. No flag flies, which is a rarity so far in this football game. I almost kind of think that they made the right no call there. Ismail Ibrahim certainly has him by his helmet.
It looks like it,
but I don't think he ever actually gets face mask there.
Yeah, it didn't look like his head was getting pulled from the grab.
So after all of that, 1st and 10 from their own 39 for Denaz Dunn and the South Oak Cliff offense.
And another penalty.
Flag on that play and a little bit of, just to call a spade there, it looked like a punch at the very tail end of that play, right in the middle of the field. Frankly, it's a football field. You see some of that, but...
Hold it. Number 78, stop. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Replay. First down.
I just want to make sure you guys at home know that's David Tucker, our official this evening. 10-yard penalty against South Oak Cliff, and that'll set up first down and looks like about 16.
Every time we see a penalty, it's just it's a drive killer for either of these teams. I mean,
it really is. And it's kind of a buzzkill, too. The handoff here goes to Cam Davis. Davis dancing his way in the backfield, but nowhere for him to go. Kimball's pursuit, to me, has been very impressive so far tonight. They have made sure to keep everything in front of them and not allow these plays that are moving laterally to bust a crease anywhere.
Right, and 10-7, I think I could count on one hand how many big plays we've had. We had the big touchdown run by Epton. We had the touchdown run from Ralph Williams. There was the huge return from Cam Davis and a big run by Cam Davis. But outside of those 4 plays, that's about it. I mean, that's essentially what your score is right now. So both of these teams doing a good job for about 90% of the time bottling up the other one. But that's football. I mean, all it takes is just one big play, and that can be the difference.
It'll be 3rd down and 22 after that stop there. So Kimball calls their final time out of the half. An effort to perhaps get the football back here before time expires, although it will be a very small amount of time because South Oak Cliff still has a play to run on this drive. Unless they throw the football, the play clock is going to work that down under 30 seconds at minimum. So Kimball's not going to have a whole lot to work with. But they're at least making an effort to get the football back with some time to work with. I made a comment earlier that you could call a spade, and Patrick Burns in the comment says, what? It says, call a spade, question mark. I promise you it's a saying. Although my college friends would get a kick out of that because they always gave me a hard time for using that phrase. So you're not alone, Patrick Burns. 3rd down and we'll say 20 now. They've updated the down and distance here in-house, 3rd and 20. And this is Mikevian Titus getting the snap, and he's got nowhere to go either. Titus, a running back, sometimes a wide receiver, also the backup quarterback to Denaz Dunn, who's the backup playing in place of Rodney Hudson, the starter. Taking the direct snap there on 3rd down and a mile, and he was able to chunk a yard off of that mile. And with 35 seconds to play here in the 2nd quarter, they'll punt the football away. With about 8 seconds left if they let it wear all the way down to the end of the play clock here.
Yeah, a little confusing why Kimball didn't call a timeout, maybe get the ball back with 45 seconds left, maybe take a couple shots downfield. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think either of these teams are in a position where they can chuck the ball downfield and have it really come to something.
10 seconds left in the half, and South Oak Cliff uses their 2nd timeout of the half to allow that play clock to wear all the way down as far as they could. A punt forthcoming, but not much time. Maybe the thought process, because we did see Gerald Monroe earlier in the game with a very nice punt return that nearly broke loose for a touchdown. Maybe that's the thought process. Hey, we just want to get an opportunity to put the football in 12's hands and see what he can do with it. Maybe that was the entire thought process for Henry Kofer and company. Of course, we're guessing from up here in the press box. We're not down there on the sideline to know for sure. But given what we've seen from him so far, I can understand wanting to get the ball in his hands one last time before halftime. Lafayette Pate back out to punt the football away for South Oak Cliff on 4th down and 19.
Maybe try to block it. Ish Ibrahim.
There's a lot of pressure coming up the middle. They do not get to it. Ball checks up in front of Monroe, the punt returner, and with 3 seconds left in the half, they've got the ball at the 47-yard line.
Well, you got a kid who's 6'5", but we haven't seen much of Kyron Henderson this evening.
Might as well throw it up there once just to see what happens, right? You got a 10-7 lead. You've
got to throw to the 5'9" receiver, Michael.
Sounds like Jonah Javad wants to be the offensive coordinator for the Kimball Knights.
That's what I did when I was younger. I would be screaming for the ball in one-on-one coverage, even though the defender against me had 6 inches on me. Little man syndrome or whatever. So maybe take a shot here. Why not? I mean,
by the same token, the best thing they've done all day is hand the ball off to number 6.
True.
So 3 wide receivers to the near side of the formation on the bottom of your screen, and they will try and throw for it. Deep downfield, they're going for Jeremiah Ross into double coverage, and it's intercepted.
All right. Well, that's the worst case.
Actually,
worst case would have been a return for a touchdown.
That's right. That's right. They at least took him down. Courtline Flowers, though, with a nice play to finish off half number 1, but a somewhat surprising and very impressive first half from the Kimball Knights. They lead 10-7 after 24 minutes worth of play. And a lot of it, of course, on the back of Brandon Epton Jr., the running back. A 57-yard touchdown run to give them a 10-0 lead. Ralph Williams answered back for South Oak Cliff to make it 10-7 there later in the second quarter. But, Jonah, this is right where Kimball would have loved to be if you could have told him you'll be up 10-7.
Yeah, I mean, this is what we wanted coming into this game. Because they are so similar, we figured maybe we'll get a close game and something thrilling towards the finish here, and it looks like we're setting up for that. Only a 3-point game at the break, and both these teams starting to find their stride a little bit, so it should make for an exciting second half of football.
South Oak Cliff will get the football first to start half number 2, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do with Cam Davis and company, see if they can get him unlocked a little bit. Kimball's defense has done a nice job of bottling him up. Ralph Williams did have that 1 touchdown run, so they've had some success on the ground, but you got to imagine Cam Davis is a little bit frustrated right now. 305 rushing yards a week ago, certainly nowhere close to that through one half of play tonight. Kimball's defense has done a nice job with him.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Davis has had a couple big plays, the return, the long run that got him into Kimball territory. But outside of that, Kimball has been swarming him. And not only just at the line, but behind the line of scrimmage. They're bringing multiple guys to stop him. So real good defensive game plan from the Knights so far. Curious to see what Sock will do to try to get him open in space here in the second half.
10-7 our score through one half of play. It is halftime here at Kincaide Stadium, which means an opportunity to hear from the bands from both of these schools as they both make their way out on the field right now. So we will kick it over to the South Oak Cliff and Kimball bands. We're not 100% sure who's going to play first here because they both appear to be on the field. We'll let them sort that out and let you guys enjoy halftime here at Kincaide Stadium. We'll see you guys for the second half of action in just a little bit.
and we share with you our concert collection. Total praise.
Are you in the house? All right, it's about that time. It's about that time. It's time.
(10-7) our halftime score. Kimball leading South Oak Cliff. Brandon Epton Jr. with a 57-yard touchdown run to establish what was for a little while there a 10-0 Kimball lead, but it only took 52 seconds, Jonah, for Sock to find the response. Ralph Williams from 30 yards out to make it 10-7, and that's where we stand right now as we are just about 3 minutes away from the second half getting underway. South Oak Cliff will have the football first to start the second half, but really an impressive first half from Kimball and a good answer from South Oak Cliff.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason we did all of this homework. I say we, he, because you look at the scouting report on both these teams. They love to run the ball, obviously, and we've seen that tonight. Every time these teams drop back to throw, it's resulted in penalties, near turnovers, and I believe sacks as well. So this is a run first game. We saw that in the first half, a couple rushing touchdowns, and it's shaping up to be a fun second half. Now, if one team does start to pull away and is the other's forced to throw the ball, then all hell breaks loose.
We can go ahead and give you a look at the teams getting loose here for the second half of action, as I want to get a quick peek at the stats through one half of play. Again, 10-7 in favor of Kimball is where things stand right now on the scoreboard. But give you a little bit more of a clear picture of how we've gotten this far. Probably the first person to mention from a statistical perspective is going to be Brandon Epton Jr. Had a huge game last week in what was a rather easy win for Kimball, 49-13 over Adamson. This week, certainly a more talented opponent in South Oak Cliff, but it's still a fantastic first half. 14 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown run. He has been the vast majority of the Kimball offense so far tonight. Meanwhile, for South Oak Cliff, Cam Davis had a huge week last week as well, 305 rushing yards, and again, what was an easy win for South Oak Cliff over Seagoville, 41-8. Tonight, solid first half from Davis, 7 carries for 46 yards. Ralph Williams, 2 carries for 40 yards, and of course the touchdown that made this game 10-7. We've also seen a couple of nice runs from Raekwon Pinkston, 3 carries for 26 yards tonight. As you mentioned, though, the passing games haven't been able to do a whole heck of a lot tonight. Keith Hargraves tonight, 2 for 10 for 34 yards. Danaz Dunn, 3 for 4 for 10 yards so far tonight. Hargraves does also have the interception that came there right at the very end of the first half. But still, all of that adds up to a 10-7 lead for Kimball, and you got to imagine that they're going to just continue to turn around and hand the football to number 6 as much as they possibly can.
Yeah, and you just mentioned his stats, Epton Jr. for Kimball, number 6. He should have more. He should have almost 200 yards tonight. And you're
talking about the penalties that have pulled back some of his big runs? Yeah.
2 penalties. The one on the first drive, which was a drive killer. Kimball was probably about 25 yards out, threatening to score a great drive. Epton Jr. was starting to roll, and then a big run negated by a penalty, a holding penalty, and then a couple drives later, another long Epton run, 40-plus yards, brought back because of a holding penalty. So Epton Jr., the stats show a good game. He's played great. And the score, I think, at 10-7 is a bit deceiving. I'd give the edge to the Knights there. Should be up probably more than 3 points, but Sauk holding its own here. The Golden Bears. Michael, I think you need to tell the folks at home who are just tuning in why Sauk is wearing red. It's not Cedar Hill. It's not Cedar Hill.
We do need to reestablish this. And as real quick mention, since you mentioned Cedar Hill, we will be at Cedar Hill 1 week from tonight for DeSoto Cedar Hill.
I'm so good with these segues.
This is why you're here tonight.
This is
why you're here. Just to tee up that one point.
Hey.
We'll officially, and I guess we just did officially announce that, but we'll talk about that more during the quarter break between 3 and 4. But we will be at Cedar Hill for a really, really good football game. DeSoto and Cedar Hill 1 week from tonight. But no, that is not Cedar Hill that you're seeing out there on the field in black and gold and red. That is indeed South Oak Cliff on Halloween, wearing a little bit of the opposing team's color to perhaps send a little bit of a message. But at least so far, through 24 minutes worth of football, Kimball has been up to the task. We'll see what half number 2 brings as Victor Navarro kicks the ball away, and we're underway here in the second half. A lot of running room as he gets to the outside. That's Ralph Williams, who has the touchdown tonight, out across the 40-yard line, pushed out of bounds from behind, but not before a big return. The senior with a nice play here on senior night at Kincaide Stadium. And good field position to start the second half for Danaz Dunn and company.
Yeah, we've talked about Sauk running back Cam Davis quite a bit tonight. The junior, 5'9", 170, very flashy, very good in the open field. But we should really stress Ralph Williams. Yeah, I mean, he has the Golden Bears' only touchdown of the game. Senior, you mentioned, Mike. He pretty much does exactly what Cam Davis does. He's just a little bit bigger and a little bit stronger, and you saw there a nice return setting up Sox. First drive here in the second half.
1st and 10 handoff goes off the left side. Pickup of maybe 4 in the hands of Mikevi and Titus. Titus with offers from Georgia Tech, Illinois State, Kansas. On the year, 329 yards on the ground and 5 touchdowns. Titus, Cam Davis, and Ralph Williams are kind of the three-headed monster out of the backfield for South Oak Cliff, and we've seen all three carry the ball well tonight. Here on 2nd down and about 6, it's once again a handoff to Titus and a burst into the second level. Very close to and will indeed have a first down. As a matter of fact, really not all that close, had it by about 1.5 yards or 2.
And you see Sock right here at the start of the second half going back to the run, trying to establish it. We didn't see any play action in the first half. Wonder if we'll see any here in the second. But a lot of weapons for this Golden Bears offense on the ground.
Kevin Wayne noting in the comments, talking about the fact that we're going to Cedar Hill, says to look out for Kevin Young Jr. Kevin will keep that in mind. Appreciate the heads up. The prep work for DeSoto Cedar Hill begins tomorrow morning. First, though, we've still got a half of football left to deal with here at Kincaide Stadium.
Yeah, Cedar Hill. Shout out to a couple folks, Claude Mathis and.
Well, that's at DeSoto.
Yeah, I know at DeSoto. That was had a chance to catch up with him and his team a couple weeks ago. Great group he's got down there, and Cedar Hill as well. Carlos Lynn and Big Cortland Ford. Shout out to my guy, him and his family. Great folks.
Cortland Ford, one of the absolute best offensive linemen in the entire state of Texas. I believe still hasn't made his decision, though. He was earlier on was an LSU commit, has come off of that and still is trying to evaluate where he's going to go to school. Denaz Dunn here on 2nd down and 9, keeps it himself and got up with a little fire after that play after he picked up about 3. Saw a comment here from Miles Pittman saying, when are y'all doing Duncanville? One of the things that you guys should know, just kind of peel back the curtain here a little bit on Thursday Night Lights, there's a reason we do it on Thursday night, and that's because the UIL won't let us do it on Friday night. And the reality of the matter is Duncanville doesn't play many Thursday night football games, so we haven't gotten a chance to get out and see them just yet. The other caveat in all that is that Duncanville blows out everybody in their district, so it wouldn't be much of a fun broadcast. It would be rather lopsided, but maybe we'll catch them in the playoffs. There's a nice run there. Once again, Raekwon Pinkston getting out and carrying the football and picking up a first down.
Yeah, once again, another weapon for the Golden Bears offense on the ground. Pinkston, Titus, Williams, Davis. Dunn can even run a little bit. Starting to massage the ball downfield here. Getting close to the Kimball red zone.
Pinkston listed at 5'10", 190. He plays a lot bigger than that. Now with a little bit of scoots from Cam Davis, and he's close to a first down once again.
A little bit of thunder and lightning. You know, Pinkston, the heavier, almost looks like a fullback, at least in high school football. Wear down the defense, and then you sprinkle in Cam Davis. So elusive, so quick. I mean, with a tired defense, Cam Davis is about the last person I would want to try to catch.
2nd down and 1 for Denaz Dunn, and he's got Cam Davis saddled to his right there in the backfield. A look to the sideline and the coaching staff. John Woodruff, the offensive coordinator for South Oak Cliff, dialing up a play here on 2nd down and 1. The handoff goes to Davis. Knight cut back into the secondary. He's loose inside the 5 and finally slung down, but not before he sets up 1st and goal.
Hurry up offense.
Quickly back to the line of scrimmage comes Dunn as Kimball tries to run defenders out on the football field. They're not able to get set, and a whistle here right at the snap. Looks like this may be a timeout called by Kimball.
Yeah, it looks like
it is indeed. Smart timeout, honestly. With I know you in a close game like this, you want to try and save your timeouts as much as possible, but they were
they didn't have a lineman.
Yeah,
they didn't even have a lineman set. He was still running back to position. I mean, smart move there by South Oak Cliff to move up to the line of scrimmage. Smell blood in the water. Defense tired. Real good drive here by Sock to start the second half.
This is what they needed to do to kind of establish. I think that a lot of people certainly thought coming into this football game that South Oak Cliff was the better football team, a team that could have theoretically won this game by a couple scores. The first half certainly didn't reflect that. You want to, if you're South Oak Cliff, you're coming out of the tunnel here at a halftime saying, all right, let's make a statement. And at least so far in this drive, they've done exactly that. It'll be 1st and goal from the 4. Dunn in shotgun, Raekwon Pinkston in the backfield with him.
To his left, yeah.
Jai Jones in there as well, another linebacker. Pinkston gets the handoff, dragging tacklers into the end zone. Touchdown. Raekwon Pinkston puts South Oak Cliff on top. Just dragging the attempted tackle from Kyrie Wheeler.
I mean, how good has he been as just a change of pace to Cam Davis in this game?
And the 4-yard touchdown run makes it 13-10. The extra point, a high snap. What a job that went through. What a job by Jimmy Wyrick to spin around and spot the football.
Jimmy Wyrick, backup dancer to Jennifer Lopez.
So that Antonio Loya
what was that?
could
Can we get
kick
a
that
replay?
extra point. That was unbelievable. Ordinarily, we don't. We can go ahead and take a look at the touchdown again here in just a moment, but we'll talk about the extra point here for just a second. We don't usually run our replay system.
It's the greatest extra point I've ever seen in my life.
It really is. It's so fun. We'll be able to watch it back here on we're watching the feedback. What a job by Jimmy Wyrick. A snap that was high and to his left behind him. Catches, spins around.
I thought it was a
spots
fake.
The football.
It wasn't a fake. It was just a poor snap.
That was as good a
great
spot of the football you'll ever see from a holder at any level. I'm serious at any level of football, you won't see it done better than that.
I never thought I'd get so excited to see an extra point. That's the best one I've ever seen.
Jimmy Pinkston, that was a heck of a play, young man. I hope you get a chance to go back and watch this tomorrow morning or whatever the case may be, because that was special. That was pretty cool. Short kick fielded at the 17-yard line, and a cutback here by Brandon Epton, and he's out across the 35.
I'm going to call our producers and tell them that's the play of the week, and I don't care what happens on Friday or Saturday this week. It's done.
Oh,
Javad's vote is
that was
cast.
special. That was special. It really was. So now for the first time today, Kimball faces a deficit. 14-10, South Oak Cliff with the lead here.
And this is what we talked about so much in the first half. And if you're just joining us, I mean, these are two run-first football teams. So obviously if either of them are playing from behind, it really is a struggle for them because they're not built to pass the ball at least a lot. So any sort of deficit, especially big deficits, are very hard for each of these offenses.
So you go to the air here on the first play of the drive and nearly intercepted. Was that Wyrick once again? Yes, it was. He got up on that football and nearly hauled it in with, I think, only one hand. I think he only got his right hand on the football. Tipped and tried to bring his second hand to the ball, but couldn't quite do it. Got it kind of caught between his knee. That would have been a special interception. Jimmy Wyrick doing some things with the football right now. Kevin Wayne says in the comments, yes, it was no doubt play of the week. Harvey Avery says that should have counted for 2.
I'm with you, Harv.
Epton gets the handoff, and again, the patience and out close to a first down. This kid is a very, very impressive young running back. Just a junior, 6 foot, 185 pounds, and really starting to turn heads on the recruiting landscape.
Yeah, he doesn't run like a junior. And there's a reason he's getting the D1 interest and offers that he is.
He's got offers from Houston, Illinois, Illinois State, and William & Mary, which is a pretty good 1AA program.
Yeah, I think
but they had an Ohio State scout in this week to talk with their coach about him.
We'll see some big D1 offers coming his way pretty soon.
He'll get the handoff once again, evades a tackle in the backfield, and again he's got around the corner. Not a whole lot more after that, as South Oak Cliff's defense did a nice job of siphoning him off after he got around the corner. Donald Miles there to make the tackle, but a pickup of 5.
I mean, that junior to senior year transition for a lot of high school football players, it's a big growth spurt year, able to put on more size and muscle, and for what he's been able to do and accomplish already this year, as a 6 foot, 185-pound junior. He's about to hit that real peak ideal 6'1", 200-pound frame that colleges like.
Second down and a short 5 here. They've got to get to the 43 on the South Oak Cliff side of the field. Hargraves is going to roll to the far side, fires that way, complete, and spinning out of the tackle is Jeremiah Ross, and he's up the sideline inside the 35.
Now Hargraves making a play there with his
Rolling
arm
against his body.
Yeah, that's a tough throw.
And right on target to Jeremiah Ross, the 6'3", 190-pound junior.
Both offenses starting to find a groove here in the second half. It was stop and go for quite a bit in that the first 2 quarters, but I guess when you're down 4 points, you got to move the ball somehow.
1st and 10 from the 32. Handoff again goes to Epton. Again, they faked that reverse. They've tried that motion many times tonight. This is one of the few times, frankly, that it hasn't worked very well, and Epton dropped for a short loss, maybe lost half a yard.
Yeah, you wonder if they just keep doing it to set up the actual reverse or maybe a double fake and hit a receiver deep. But again, we just haven't seen many passing plays in this game from both teams. I mean, what are we at combined passing yards now, Mike?
Let's see, combined passing yards?
Probably not even 60 or 70.
Well, these stats aren't fully updated. I think that last passing completion from Hargraves to Ross probably hasn't been added to the list yet, but it says right now 44 combined passing yards between these two teams.
Jeez.
2nd down and 11,
yeah.
Handoff up the middle. Looks like that was Jeremiah Payne getting the handoff, and defenders hopping on the pile. That was John Davis, our player to watch for South Oak Cliff, hopping on top. They're trying to claim that the football came out and that they got it. We'll see what the officials say here. It seemed like the play was stopped. I would have thought that the whistle would have ended the play. Let's see what David Tucker has to say about all
Hey,
this.
Dave, we haven't seen you in a bit. If you guys don't know, David Tucker was our sideline reporter in the first half.
He says it is 3rd down. It will remain Kimball football as they got back to the original line of scrimmage. I beg your pardon, where they're spotting it now about 3rd and 8 it will be. Right at the 30-yard line. You can hear the boos from the near side South Oak Cliff fans thinking that the Golden Bears had taken the football away. But it stays Kimball football, and it'll be 3rd and 8 for Hargraves. 2 wides to the top side of the formation. They fake the reverse again, and Epton gets the handoff, and he fights his way to the second level, close to a 1st down, but short of it. They'll mark him at the 24, and it will be 4th down, about 1.5 yards.
Once again, Epton showing the patience, waiting for his center, Desmond Pate, to come over, make the block, then picks up an extra, 8 yards because of it. It's not all about speed with running backs.
It's about power in this kind of situation. 4th down and a short 2. And they will keep the offense on the field and go for it. Hargraves in shotgun. Epton in the backfield with him. Handoff to Epton. Cut back. He's got the 1st down and then some. Into the 2nd level and inside the 15-yard line. He was 1 man away from taking it to the house on 4th and 2. But it's now 1st and 10 inside the 15.
Yeah, just a stutter step to cut back inside. And again, Pate doing a great job of blocking downfield. I mean, Pate's having a great game.
Desmond Pate, 5'10", 265. They say he's the point man of the offensive line. He's the one who kind of everything runs through as the starting center for this football team. 1st and 10 from the 11. Again, the handoff to Epton. This time they've got him bottled up. He makes a cut, and a flag flies in as he dives across the 10 to the 8. And it looks like 1st and 10's about to become 1st and quite a bit longer.
Yeah, and that was the problem with Kimball's offense in the first half. Exactly what we're seeing now. Moving the ball, no problem. Picking up 1st down after 1st down. And then a 10-yard penalty perhaps here.
Holding. Number 71, Kimball. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay. First down.
That's Phoenix Perkins, the left guard for Kimball, called for the hold there, and that will set up first down. And
the drive killer, man.
it really is.
Yeah, and the first half, Kimball had to settle for a field goal after a drive that looked like it was going to end in 6. We'll see here now. I mean, I don't know how many times we can say these teams are not designed to convert on 3rd and longs.
The one benefit here for Kimball is the fact that it's first down.
Yeah, and they can chip away.
The graphic says 2nd and 20. They just flipped it over. It is indeed first down. 1st and 20 from the 21-yard line. They have to get to the 1.
Empty backfield.
Hargraves rolling to the right. Looking deep downfield. Has a man in the end zone, but he's also got defenders out there, and it's intercepted. Picked off and back the other way comes South Oak Cliff in the hands of Courtline Flowers. Flowers has got running room and blockers, breaks into the clear, and finally taken down inside the 30-yard line. Courtline Flowers, the senior 3-star Louisiana commit, with a huge defensive play to flip the field and end what was a very solid Kimball drive. Now back the other way it comes for South Oak Cliff.
Well, there's a huge play from the South Oak Cliff defense, a defense that has the nickname, at least on Twitter, #Death Row Defense. Gotta love it.
Allowing just 15.5 points per game on the year, but a flag is going to bring all this back. Hang on, let's get clarity on this one more time.
Wow.
David Tucker just signaled a penalty against South Oak Cliff. What is not clear is whether it was pre or post interception. Now a timeout signal.
Timeout. Stop.
The offense.
Timeout called by South Oak Cliff. The offense of Kimball is still on the football field. So we're told anyway by some of the folks that are up here in the press box with us that it was roughing the passer. And that is what brings all of this back.
Yeah, and we just saw head ref Dave
Tucker.
Dave Tucker. Look at the arms to the face. You can't see it there on the replay, but the defender brings his arm to the face of Keith Hargraves, and that's why there's a whistle.
I mean, that's an enormous penalty. And that sets up now 1st and 10 once again from the 11-yard line. Just a hair outside the 10, in fact, is where that ball is spotted. But they can pick up a first down without scoring a touchdown. Hand off to Epton again, and slips down after he was hit in the backfield. Jalen Alexander there to make contact with him, and he couldn't keep his feet, and a loss of 2. Beg your pardon, loss of 3 back to the 14, so it'll be 2nd down and 13. But I mean, that's a game-changing play right now. That at least creates the potential that Kimball could get 3 here, if not 6. And what you would think should have been an opportunity for Sock to be inside the 30-yard line.
Yeah, huge swing here, but Kimball's got to convert, got to make it worth it.
Yeah, this is an opportunity you have to take advantage of if you're Kimball, and Brandon Epton Jr. trying to find somewhere to go, and great pursuit
and
from the
flag,
soft front,
late hit.
And another flag.
Oh, that's going to get called on number 56.
Jacob Lariz flying in late.
Dead ball. Personal foul, number 56, Sock. Jumped in after the play was over. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic.
Now, I know Brandon Epton can break a lot of tackles, but I don't think he was going to break one from where he was laying down on the ground. Yeah, this is the right call.
He just kind of belly flopped on.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I mean, listen, I understand the passion that these kids are playing with, and I understand that there's a lot of friends and sometimes maybe not so close of friends that are playing against one another out here on the football field. Regardless of what the rivalry is, regardless of any of it, you can't do that. What's interesting is they said it was going to be half the distance to the goal line. This does not appear to be half the distance. It's once again 1st and 10 from the 11. And again, the handoff goes to Epton, and again, nowhere for him to go. Credit to the South Oak Cliff defense. They've done a nice job of making life an awful lot more difficult when Kimball has gotten in the red zone, and we've seen that here on this drive.
Yeah, and obviously the Knights, I mean, you don't know the next time you're going to get this close into Sock territory. Field goal really doesn't do much for you. I mean, only 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Honestly, if you're Kimball, I'm thinking touchdown or bust here. I mean, this is 4-down territory.
To me, it kind of depends on just how far you got to go on 4th down, because we've talked about it before. This team is not designed to throw the football much, although they're going to try to here. Hargraves is going to try and run for it now, though, as he pulls it down and gets a few out to the 6-yard line. That's going to chunk away about half of what they need to gain.
Really would like to see more designed runs for Hargraves. He's very good with his feet. Gets out of the... He's just... In general, he's better outside of the pocket. He looks more comfortable. And now this starts to get a little interesting here. 3rd and 6. They can get a first down at the 1.
And it certainly appears anyway that it's even inside the 1 that they would have to get to. Ball sits right at the 6-yard line. As Hargraves comes out, he's got the call, and he's got very little time on the play clock, and they're going to have to call timeout to try and save the 5 yards. And that's now the second timeout called in this half by Kimball. He spent an awful lot of time, Hargraves did, over at the sideline talking with the coaching staff. It seemed like that was taking an awful lot of time, and sure enough, I looked up and checked the play clock, and they had 3 seconds as they were making their way to the line of scrimmage. Just not enough time to get the snap off, and they have to burn another timeout. 14-10 our score. 1:08 on the clock, third quarter here at Kincaide Stadium. Mike Leslie and Jonah Javad here with you on the WFA Digital Network. Sock, one of the top 5A teams in the state a year ago, arguably the third best. That would be my argument anyway. The third best 5A Division II football team in the entire state of Texas. They lost to Aledo late in the state playoffs. In the regional semifinals. They lost that game 28-14. That was the closest anybody in the state got to the eventual champ Aledo, except for Frisco Reedy, who lost 26-16 the very next week. Those, to me, are your 3 best teams in the state in 5A Division II, all of them from here in the DFW area. Sock maybe not quite as good this year as they were last year, but still a good football team, but being tested tonight by Kimball, who fires into the end zone, tipped, and was it picked off? No, they say he's out of bounds.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Courtline Flowers got his hands on the football again, but the officials say he did not make the catch in bounds. Let's see if we can get another look.
From
this ball was
my
tipped.
Vantage point, he just gets his right foot down as he gets possession.
I don't know. I think maybe his right foot may have dragged out of bounds as his left foot came down inbounds. That was John Davis who tipped the ball into the air. Let's go ahead and save that replay, and we'll come back to that after
we got it one more time
after
here.
the field goal.
Tipped.
He's still bobbling it, and I think he's stepping out of bounds as he grabs it. As out for the field goal
Does that
comes.
left foot come
Does
out?
the field goal go through? No, sir. The field goal off the foot of Victor Navarro. It was a bad snap, and the hold was not solid, and Navarro not able to put it through. So all of that for Kimball amounts to no points.
Shall I say it again? Ball don't lie. I thought it was an interception. Should have been a change of possession.
Do you really?
Misfield.
Can we get it one more time?
I'll show you.
I think his right foot drags out of bounds.
I don't think the left foot's out of bounds.
It's his right.
Yeah.
I'm saying his right foot, as he's coming down, is dragging out of bounds as he gets his left foot in.
Facebook poll. All right, Facebook commenters, tell Mike he's wrong, okay?
I do wonder.
I am curious.
We got 431 people watching right now. Let us know in the comments whether you think that was a catch or not. Meanwhile, Cam Davis into the secondary. Cam Davis, he's got the corner. Davis across midfield, across the 40, and knocked out of bounds.
What does it say about a running back where you can't tackle him, you have to just shove him out of bounds? That's the best you can do to get him down. Cam Davis is special.
Speed. Speed, speed, speed. And tell you what, credit to Ishmael Ibrahim for being able to chase him down.
Thank you for not hitting me with you can't coach speed idiom. That's one of my favorites.
1st and 10 for South Oak Cliff, now seemingly in business. They get the stop. They are fortunate enough to get a bad snap on the field goal and no points for Kimball, and now they're inside the 30, but only for a moment, as nowhere for Denaz Dunn to go on that play, and he loses maybe a yard or two. We'll call it the 32 now.
What an absolute swing here. What a swing.
Damian Henderson, he's with you. He says, that's right, ball don't lie. LOL.
Hey.
Kevin Wayne says, sorry, Mike, it's a pick. Trey Holcomb says out of bounds.
The tribe has spoken.
2nd down and 11 for Denaz Dunn from the 32. Handoff up the middle, break into the outside is my Keevian Titus.
Wow.
They just keep throwing bodies at you.
And I also disagreed with Kimball's decision to kick the field goal. I get you want points on the board, but you'd still be trailing. And South Oak Cliff showed on the last possession that they're moving. So
3rd down and 1 here. Dunn hands off to Titus up the middle again. Runs into a wall, but I think he'll have the 1st down, but only just barely. He does indeed. He's got it by probably less than half a yard.
And that should
but it's enough for a 1st down, and that's the final play of quarter number 3 here from Kincaide Stadium. 14-10, South Oak Cliff with a 4-point lead over their district rival, Kimball. 4th quarter could be fun in this one.
Spicy. And so South Oak Cliff will continue this drive when we pick back up here in the 4th quarter. But again, that Kimball drive is the game in a nutshell for the Knights, is just being able to move the ball downfield so well. Epton playing so great at running back, and then just coming up short, whether it's a penalty or a turnover or they're a missed field goal. So the Knights should have more than 10 points in this game, but they don't.
14-10 is where we stand right now as the 4th quarter is ready to get underway. But we do want to let you know that next week, 1 week from tonight, we will be at Cedar Hill High School. DeSoto and Cedar Hill, 2 teams ranked in the state in 6A, 2 teams battling for a district championship in District 7 6A. The District of Doom it was last year. This year, I think you could argue it is again a very deep, very talented district, but these 2 teams are the 2 best teams in that district, and they will play right here on the WFA Digital Network, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and WFA.com, 7 o'clock, 1 week from tonight.
That'll be a good one. Carlos and Claude going at it. Enjoy that.
You have some business to tend to, though, this evening out on the football field as South Oak Cliff, again, has 1st down and 10 from right at the 20-yard line. They've got a 4-point lead, and I think for Kimball, you got to be feeling you need to make a stop here. You can't allow 6 points from South Oak Cliff on this possession. Dunn in shotgun. Hands off to Cam Davis. Spins for about a yard. He had running room. If he was able to spin out of that tackle, there was room to run, but wasn't quite able to break loose.
Curious what Cam Davis's future will be at the collegiate level. Obviously, a great running back in high school, but could see some schools wanting to move him around, feature his athleticism elsewhere.
2nd and 9 as they've got Pinkston back on the football field behind Denaz Dunn, and he'll get the handoff, and he falls down. Lost his footing as he got to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to set up 3rd down and maybe 8 or 9, depending on where they spot this. I don't think he gained a yard, and it's going to be 3rd and 9. Pinkston's been great tonight, but just a tough moment there. Wasn't able to keep his footing.
And again, a 3rd and long situation. 3rd and long has been real tough for both teams tonight.
Done. Out of shotgun. Fires deep down the right side and incomplete over the head of his intended target, Justin Harrison, the receiver on the other end. But
good luck throwing at Ismail Ibrahim. Do that at your own peril.
Indeed. And that sets up 4th down and 9. And it appears here comes the field goal unit. For the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears, it's Antonio Loya, their kicker. Antoine Brown will snap it, and Jimmy Wyrick, as we've already seen this evening, will be your holder. I got to imagine Wyrick is hoping for a better snap than what he saw on the PAT just a little bit ago, as they look to line up a 36-yard field goal from the left hash.
Wyrick hit him with that spin move circle.
Snap was behind him, but he gets it down. Kick is away, and it's through. Whistles, though, at the line of scrimmage. And here comes David Tucker once again, and it appears it's going to be a timeout called by South Oak Cliff. So out of the timeout, back comes South Oak Cliff to kick the field goal once again. 36-yard attempt. We already saw Loya put it through once. We'll see if he can repeat the feat. The snap was again behind Jimmy Wyrick, but he was able to grab it and put it down. Let's see where the snap goes this time. On target. Snap is down. Kick from 36 is good, and it's 17-10 in favor of South Oak Cliff.
All right, still a one-possession game. So Kimball's still in it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that was a must for Kimball. Got to make a stop there. Keep yourself in touch within one possession. And now you don't have to change anything about your game plan now. You can continue to hand the football off to number 6 all the way down the football.
Yeah, it's
10 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. You got an eternity.
They've had no trouble moving the ball downfield. They just, at the moment they get close to or into the Sock red zone, it's like they're allergic to it, and they need to get outside the 20-yard line so they can get a shot at the end zone. Kimball's only touchdown tonight was 50-plus yards, so the red zone offense has not been good for the Knights.
They were held to a field goal midway through the first quarter from Victor Navarro, a 45-yard field goal, so that one was even from outside the red zone just a little bit.
I mean, credit to Sock, for locking down.
Yeah. Again, on the year, giving up just 15.5 points per game, allowing just 115 yards per game. To me, that's even more impressive.
Well, this game right now definitely favors the Golden Bears for
short kick here.
Oh, little pooch.
Pooch kick, but fielded by Kimball, and a nice catch and a nice job to hang on to the football by Marion Williams as he got hammered inside the 40-yard line. Looks like the 38 is where they'll mark it after all that, but this was a nice catch and solid hands to hang on to it.
Well, I remember covering a Cedar Hill game last year. I think it was against Waxahachie, and they did a pooch kick. Must have been about 5 times in a row, and they recovered 3, 4, a lot of them, and ended up winning that game by, it felt like, 1 million points. I think you're seeing that a lot now in high school, just kind of targeting the mid part of the return field in hopes of possibly recovering or forcing a fumble.
So let's see what Keith Hargraves and the Kimball offense have now. Down 7, fourth quarter. Handoff goes to Epton. Breaks to the outside, but a nice job to grab a hold of him by Kamani Green and not let him go, and they take him down for a loss of about 7.
Yeah, Epton's starting to have trouble finding open space. His last 5 to 6 carries have been a struggle. And they don't run.
Got a player down that appears to be Jeremiah Ross, the wide receiver for Kimball. Looks like they're trying to maybe stretch him out, perhaps just a cramp here. But look at this again. Just a really nice play from Kamani Green.
Yeah.
He went down after the play. You see him at the very top of the frame.
Non-contact.
Which seeing a player go down non-contact like that can sometimes be concerning, but the way that they're trying to stretch his legs out,
that looks
it
like
makes
a Charlie
me think
horse.
It's a cramp.
Yeah.
Or Charlie horse, something along those lines. He is still down on the field, you see, at the 27-yard line. 17-10 our score, fourth quarter. South Oak Cliff with all 10 points here in the second half of play. In fact, they've scored the last 17 points of this game after Kimball jumped out to a 10-0 lead just 2 minutes into the second quarter. Brandon Epton with a 57-yard touchdown run to establish that 10-0 lead for Kimball. Since then, a Ralph Williams touchdown run to make it 10-7, a Raekwon Pinkston touchdown run in the third quarter to make it 14-10 South Oak Cliff, and then you saw just moments ago Antonio Loya with a 36-yard field goal to establish our current tally at 17-10. Jeremiah Ross able to walk off the field under his own power, but with a substantial limp. We'll keep an eye on whether or not the senior wide receiver is able to make it back out on the football field tonight. Meantime, it's second down and 16 from their own 32 for Kimball. Hargraves out of shotgun, 2 wides to the top of the formation. They do run the reverse this time. They've been setting it up all night. We'll see how well it works. Breaking to the outside and getting across the 35. All of that looked exciting, went for about 3 yards, as that's all that Jeremiah Payne could muster. There wasn't a whole lot of running room. Credit to Sox defense. For the most part, they did stay home here. And Courtline Flowers, he's had a very, very nice second half. Getting off the block there and making that tackle, that was impressive.
He's been everywhere. He's had 2 picks that should have been but weren't. This entire Sox secondary, though, is really good. Really good. And that's why right now, up 7, it favors the Golden Bears even more, because if it's a passing situation, which it is starting to be.
Pressure from behind for Hargraves. He's able to escape, gets to the outside, looking deep downfield, and throws it out of bounds, trying to find Gerald Monroe. It'll be 4th down and 12. And you have to punt the football away here. You have to trust your defense. The second half, South Oak Cliff's been able to have a little more success moving the football, but still, there's reason for Kimball to trust their defense. 9:09 on the clock. The fact that they've only got the 1 timeout left does start to creep into the back of your mind, but it's still, I think, a little early for that. But you have to trust your defense at this spot. You can't go for it on 4th down and 12 from your own 36-yard.
Yeah, I didn't like going deep on 3rd and 12. The deep ball hasn't been working at all. Maybe just pick up 8 yards or something short over the middle.
Racing forward to make the catch on the punt is Jimmy Wyrick, and he slides down just inside his own 40-yard line.
Yeah,
They'll mark it at the 38.
You look at it inside the 40, your net yardage there on change of field is 25.
Just about.
So, you get 8 on a 3rd down, and then maybe you go for it on a 4th, don't get it. It's, a difference of 15 yards? So, if ifs and buts were candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But you know what? It's not Christmas time. It's Halloween.
Jonah Javad, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why I'm here.
1st and 10 from their own 38 for South Oak Cliff. And now it's 4-minute offense time for Cam Davis. And snap over his head, and he just hops back on top of it.
That's huge for Kimball. That is a huge play for Kimball.
Yep. Turns it into 2nd down and, about 17 it looks like?
Just put a body on Cam Davis.
2nd and 19.
Can you play the box and 1 in football?
At this point, you wonder, does South Oak Cliff have to go to the air? They won't here. Handoff goes to Davis, and he's able to get to the near side. Does he get the corner? Almost. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe a half a yard more than that, and that will set up 3rd down and at least conceivable. It'll be 3rd and 9. Dunn and company looking to the near side. Offensive coordinator John Woodruff trying to figure out what to do on 3rd and 9 against the defense of Charles Butler II, Kimball's defensive coordinator. See what Dunn and company have here on 3rd and 9. At a shotgun with a back to his left, it's Davis. Handoff to Davis. Nice cut. Trying to get close to the line of scrimmage. He's got it, and then some. Across midfield, across the 40, first down and quite a bit more into Kimball territory. A huge run from Cam Davis.
What a great stutter step by Davis. Look as he approaches the lane here, cuts it back. Whew, slippery. Broke about half a dozen tackles by my count there.
We have the Kimball coaching staff in the booth immediately to our right. And you see going down on the field is Mylan Johnson, one of the defensive ends for this football team at the 41-yard line. I think he was having struggles getting back to the line of scrimmage. I'm not questioning whether or not he's actually hurt. I think the reason why he was having struggles is because he was banged up after that play. But they were pounding on the table, kind of just trying to telepathically communicate to Mylan Johnson that you have to go down in that situation because he was behind the line of scrimmage, still technically an active player on the field.
Right, hit him with a penalty.
And allow a free play, have their defense out of position. A lot of things can go wrong. Johnson did indeed go down on the football field. He's back up under his own power now and walking off, but he'll have to be out for at least one play. Travion Dawson and Mike Evans, the other two defensive ends for this football team. You'll see Donald Miles some as well, number 33 out there on the football field for Kimball at that defensive end spot. But Johnson will head off after that big 3rd down and 9 pickup from Cam Davis, and it's now 1st and 10 at the Kimball 38 for the Sock offense. 8:10 to play, 4th quarter. And they're going to go to the air here, deep down the middle into double coverage, and just out shooting his man is Denaz Dunn. He had DeMarco Moon out there. He was behind the defense. Moon's calling for a hold there. No flag comes. He was in double coverage, but he was behind both of them. Maybe just a little hair of a tug on the jersey there from DeAndre Davis, the corner opposite Ish Ibrahim. But certainly not enough to draw a flag, and that'll lead to 2nd and 10 here. A little bit of a gift from the Sock offense to stop the clock there with the incomplete pass. Now the handoff to Titus up the middle, and he's swallowed up immediately. Great pursuit from Deontay Davis. Penetration in the backfield and nowhere for Titus to go, and it'll be 3rd and long. Just a nice job by Davis to just knife across there, Jonah, and make a play in the backfield.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if this is 4-down territory for Sock. I mean, 3rd and 12. Get a chance to put this game to bed if you get a 1st down here, you'd think.
3 wide receivers to the top of the formation. On 3rd down and 12, and the snap again gets away from Dunn, trying to break out to the right-hand side, trying to get the corner, and he won't. Nice pursuit by the by the linebacker, Jai Mitchell.
Yeah, good job by Mitchell not dragging Dunn down.
That's a good
as
point.
They got to the sideline, because that could have been a penalty if he did. Like right here, a lot of players will just finish the tackle, and he knew.
Good job to throw his hands up and just let the play's over. No need to do anything more than that. He did his job. He ran him out of bounds, and now that will lead to a punt here on 4th down and 11. So the one 3rd down and long pickup from Cam Davis was important because it did work some time off the clock, but ultimately Kimball, trusting their defense, works out. They get the football back. 7 minutes and 12 seconds on the clock here as Sock will punt the football away. Lafayette Pate set to punt it away. High snap. He's skies to pull it in. Gerald Monroe fields it at his own 14. Knockback, ball's loose. Ball's loose, and Sock's on top of it. Inside the 5-yard line. South Oak Cliff with a huge special teams play as Gerald Monroe can't hang on to it. Derek Thomas comes up with the loose ball. He was kind of bobbling it as he caught it. And the hit from Akeem McAdams helps to knock the ball loose. Sock on top of it inside the 5, and this is
what a
worst case scenario for Kimball.
Well, the snap looked like it was about to go over the punter's head, but able to grab it, boot it away, and then recover the fumble. And now South Oak Cliff has a chance to really stick him with the dagger here.
Dunn Handoff up the middle. Raekwon Pinkston fighting. End zone. Touchdown Sock.
There it is. I mean, Pinkston, that'll be a nice addition to his resume tonight. He's really played well. Not a ton of yards, but he's had really important gains when they needed them the most.
Yeah.
And especially
second touchdown on the run of the night.
Yeah, and especially in that situation. They really like him near the goal line.
6:53 to play here in the fourth quarter, and now a 2-score lead as the extra point is up and through off the foot of Antonio Loya. 24-10. South Oak Cliff has scored 24 unanswered tonight. And approaching the midway point of quarter number 4, Kimball now is in a world of hurt. Only one timeout left. A team that is a run-heavy football team in a 2-score deficit. They need to get moving, and they need to do so very quickly.
Yeah, I think the only chance here now for the Knights is if Sock's defense starts to, maybe play more of a prevent or a dime and start to soften up, maybe they bust out a big run. I mean, just stick with what you do best. But Sock's defense the second half has been good. Pitching a shutout. The secondary is stellar. A bunch of future D1 players at defensive back for the Golden Bears. So, yeah, the Knights got their work cut out for them here with the final 6:53. I just don't think Kimball's played as bad as 10 points. I don't think Kimball's played as bad as a 14-point deficit.
They just have not been able to capitalize in a couple of key situations.
They've had chances, but just weren't able to capitalize. Well said.
And then also the mistake there on the punt return that's what creates what really shouldn't be a 14-point deficit, but that is where it stands right now. Is that ball probably wisely grabbed very quickly by Brandon Epton and stepped out of bounds. There's, I can understand the school of thought that, hey, let it go out of bounds and you get the free, extra probably would be about 12 yards or whatever. But that ball was checking up the way it would. You make sure that the other team doesn't jump on top of the football and you go pull an SMU and give up a goofy onside kick. So probably a smart play by Epton to just grab that and step out of bounds. Decent field position still at their own 25-yard line.
But time is of the essence here. I mean, just under 7 minutes to go.
Yes.
We got to see hurry up. We have to see a sense of urgency. 2 scores is so much different than 1.
And this is a test now for Keith Hargraves. He's got pressure behind him. He's able to get the ball off, and they'll pick up maybe a yard or 2 on this as he's able to hit Jeremiah Ross, who good to see him back on the football field after he was down earlier. He gets up looking for a penalty.
That Ross
and holding his right hamstring again. He's very frustrated right now. Feels like he should have gotten a flag or something. I suppose perhaps he's just frustrated with the fact that he got hurt. I'm not sure exactly what the penalty would be that he wanted here. So I suppose maybe he was just frustrated that he got up hurt. Anyway, it's second down and about 8 as they hand it off to Epton. And again, a nice job by this Sock defense. They've been everywhere all night long. You talk about the secondary and how talented they are. At minimum, 3 Division I players in their 4-player secondary. John Davis is going to Texas Tech. Courtline Flowers is going to Louisiana. And Jimmy Wyrick is looking at a number of different schools, 20-plus offers. BC, Georgia Tech, Kansas. Stanford's very high on his list, and he's a very smart young man, too. His father played in the NFL, played at Minnesota in college, was a undrafted free agent signee by the Detroit Lions, played a few years there, and then also played with the Dolphins as Hargraves cuts back against the grain, and Hargraves has got something here across the 35, steps out of bounds, and he's got the first down, and that's what you've been calling for all night, to see number 11 use his legs a little more.
Hargraves has been going the wrong direction every time he backs up to throw. He just goes on a diagonal and has to throw this impossible pass. He's really good on his feet. I just don't understand why the Knights haven't tried to open things up for him on the ground. A QB draw, a bootleg, anything. hey, I'm not the offensive coordinator. I don't make the play calls, but he's been good when he's been able to run in the open field.
Kimball, though, right now needs a big play. Something downfield, something that pops. That's not going to...
So a gain of nothing on a out route.
Jeremiah Payne able to make the catch, but hit immediately, and
they're just not
give him about a yard.
They're just not a team that's built for that big pop through the air. Sure, the Knights could bust one on the ground, but you really want to risk that? You need to throw the ball at some point. And so we've reached that turning point, which we knew we'd get to eventually, when one of these teams has to play significantly from behind, and it puts them at a serious loss because they're not designed to play passing football.
2nd down and 9 for Hargraves. Out of shotgun, 2 wides to the right. He rolls that way. He's got pressure coming from behind him. Gets the pass off, but it's low. He's trying to find Payne again.
He keeps making the pass longer than it needs to. He keeps going on a diagonal toward the sideline. I mean, step up a bit. At least you can get your feet into the throw. A work in progress right now for the Kimball passing attack.
And now they face 3rd down and 9 from their own 40. 24-10 our score, under 4.5 to play. Kimball with just 1 timeout remaining. And running out of time on the play clock here as well, as they're still in the huddle, just breaking it now with 4, 3, 2. They're going to have to call another timeout or take the 5-yard penalty, and they waste their 3rd timeout of the football game as they let the play clock expire once again.
Yeah, it's just been a lot of little things that Kimball has struggled with tonight. There have been penalties that have killed good drives. There's been missed field goals. There have been fumbles. And namely, I don't know if it's a discipline issue, but burning all 3 timeouts related to just letting the play clock get down low just seems silly.
Yeah, if memory serves, at least 2 of their 3 second-half timeouts have been because their play clock was expiring on them. I can't remember the 3rd offhand. It may have been all 3, but I just don't remember to be certain the situation that all 3 timeouts were used.
3 was because they had a player who couldn't get back in time because of the hurry-up offense from Sock. And then remember the first half?
That one's a little bit
Kimball
more understandable.
Kimball called a timeout on the first play from scrimmage.
Yes, they did.
So that kind of set the
first
tone
play.
Before the first play. Yeah.
They had returned the kickoff.
The earliest you can take a timeout in a football game, Kimball did. So that kind of set the tone.
Let's see what Hargraves can do here on 3rd and 9. Pressure, trying to escape the pocket. Does for a moment. Taken down. Oh, and he's still up on his feet. Hargraves somehow escapes all that and fires downfield, and it's intercepted by South Oak Cliff. Cameron Williams hauling it in at the 43-yard line, and South Oak Cliff's defense does it again.
Yeah, I mean, great job by Hargraves.
I mean, this is incredible.
Escape the pressure. He's been doing it all night. He's had a couple of escapes that were really impressive. Like, how did he
I thought for sure he was down there.
He got knocked out of a sack.
And Courtline Flowers, big surprise, had his hands on that football as well right before it fell into the hands of Cameron Williams.
Courtline Flowers played a really good game. It's not going to show up, on a box score, but he's been everywhere.
Yes, he has. We were talking about before their secondary is as impressive as it is. At least three of their 4, Flowers, Davis, and Wyrick, all going to play college ball, and that's to say that Donovan Lewis couldn't as well, but he's just a junior, and we'll see what his career holds over the course of the next year and a half or so.
Yeah, and what you see so many times with these guys is when you've got 3 Division I prospects, you'll have a lot of scouts come to these games and watch them, and then they'll think, who's number 19? Well, that's Donovan Lewis. Where is he looking? He's not. And then that starts – that's how it snowballs.
High tide lifts all boats. And to take it to another extent, so you got 3 rated recruits in the secondary and 2 more in the linebacking core. Raekwon Pinkston, a 2-star recruit. Jai Jones, a 3-star recruit. There is talent all over that South Oak Cliff defense. And at least according to their head coach, Jason Todd, he thinks their defense is better than it was a year ago, is getting the corner and getting to the outside. Just stepping on the end line is Cam Davis. He nearly had room to get up the sideline for 6, but couldn't quite fully turn the corner.
Well, got to give credit to Kimball in this game for being able to move the ball as well as they did for the majority of this game. But South Oak Cliff, locked down in the red zone when it came time, forced turnovers.
Yeah.
That proved to be the difference.
1st and 10 at the 35, now under right at 3:21, and stationary for the moment after Davis stepped out of bounds.
Looks like Sock's just going to let that play clock tick.
Which I think eventually Denaz Dunn realized that the game clock wasn't ticking because Davis had stepped out of bounds.
Or stepped out, right.
So they eventually do snap the football, but now the play clock and game clock will both run.
So we hit about 3 minutes here. Mike, you look at really both teams, a lot of these guys who are getting Division I looks, and one school that just keeps popping up for a lot of these kids who have received offers, Kansas.
Yes.
And I don't know if everyone familiar who is watching this, but there is a strong connection to Kansas to South Dallas because of Emmett Jones. And because of that, we're seeing a lot of these kids from the area start to commit there. There were kids last year who decommitted from a number of schools and then actually ended up at KU.
Dunn going deep up the left side, caught, touchdown!
And that's going to be defensive pass interference. That touchdown should stand.
DeMarco Moon from 35 yards out, fighting off the contact, making a one-handed catch for 6.
Yeah, Dunn and Moon said, "Shut up, Mike and Jonah. We can throw the ball."
That is a one-handed grab with the defender all over his right arm, hauls it in with the left arm, and there's some celebration on the sideline there with DeMarco Moon. That's a heck of a play for the 5'10", 175-pound senior, his 4th touchdown of the year. Denaz Dunn with his 6th touchdown pass of the season. Again, he's the backup replacing Rodney Hudson, the starter who's been out with an ankle injury over the course of the last few weeks. Dunn has played well in his stead. That's his 6th touchdown pass. He's yet to throw an interception while filling in at quarterback, and the extra point is up and through 31-10 now in favor of South Oak Cliff with 2:23 to play here in the 4th quarter. I can only imagine North Texas, DFW, high school football fans might look at the scoreboard later tonight if they didn't see this game, and they see 31-10. All right, that's what I expected from South Oak Cliff and Kimball. This was not a 31-10 football game all night long. This was a very close, contended football game for certainly 3.5 quarters anyway.
There was a 2-minute stretch, Mike, where it changed. It was the missed field goal by Kimball, which would have made it a 1-point game.
Yeah.
And then that all switched over and led to a South Oak Cliff field goal, followed by a fumble, a touchdown, and now 21-point scoring margin. But I think we got to give props to our staffer here at the stadium, who we alluded to in the first half. Said it was going to be a close game for most of it, but Sock was going to pull away. I think the staffer was right.
It's pretty much what has happened over the course of this football game. 10-0 early in favor of Kimball. I don't know that he necessarily expected that, but since that point, South Oak Cliff has scored 31 unanswered. And that is where this football game stands with 2:23 to play. South Oak Cliff about to improve to 7-3 on the season and 5-1 in district play. Take a look at the district standings in 6-5A Division II. Red Oak still sits atop the standings, 5-0. They have, of course, 2 games left in their season as well, tomorrow and then next week. As again, a short kickoff from South Oak Cliff is fielded at about the 32-yard line by Gerald Monroe, and he's got a little bit of running room across the 40, across the 45, across midfield, and he's into the clear. Gerald Monroe, can they catch him from behind? Inside the 10 and finally dragged down inside the 5. It is most likely a little too late for Gerald Monroe and Kimball, but a nice play from the Mighty Might number 12 as he gets up a little ginger after the kickoff return here, but the again, according to coach, 5'6", 5'7", maybe 160-pound junior, showing off the scoots once again tonight.
Oh my gosh, he's just so fearless cutting through the middle of the field. That's the second time tonight. He's just danced around almost a dozen tackles. He just ran out of gas. I mean, I think normally if he didn't have to evade that many tackles, he would have put on the jets and scored there, but he just ran out of gas there toward the end.
So here comes Hargraves, now 1st and goal from the 4, and an opportunity to carve away a little bit. Handoff goes to Epton and nowhere for him to go. Again, showing that patience, but this time the patience just didn't lead to any crease. South Oak Cliff just stringing them out.
Patience is only works if the blockers block. The patience is time for the blockers to get into their position to block the defenders. If
South Oak Cliff
his linemen
did a good job.
Yeah, if his linemen don't get there or Sock blows up the gap, then the patience doesn't really matter.
So South Oak Cliff already clinched a playoff berth. Kimball had an opportunity to clinch with a win tonight. They can still clinch with a win next week when they take on Conrad, a game that they likely should win. Hargraves looking to the right-hand side, now looking back near side, scrambles out of a lot of pressure. He's got a little bit of running room now, has some room to fire it into the end zone. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Into the end zone for the touchdown as Marion Williams diving for the grab in the middle of the end zone, and at least for the moment, Kimball pulls a little closer.
Nice play from Keith Hargraves, who once again, I don't think he's completed one pass from the pocket today, but he has completed a few from outside of it. He's just very good on his feet because the defense breaks down. Everybody has to they're running around. You see this all the time in college and the NFL. You get a quarterback on the move, it forces the defense to collapse. It did there in the secondary. Williams gets open, and maybe some life for Kimball, or at least makes this loss not look so emphatic.
Yeah, it frankly makes the final score look a little more like what it should. Did that go through? Yes, it did. Off the upright and sneaks inside the other side.
We're seeing a bunch of treat extra points tonight. That was a laser.
Keith Hargraves with touchdown pass number 12 on the year. Marion Williams with his second catch and second touchdown catch of the 2019 season. He came in tonight with one reception for 54 yards and a touchdown, and just made that touchdown catch right there. Double checking to see if he didn't make another catch earlier in the football game. I don't believe he did. Now, that's only the third completion, in fact, on the night.
It looks like
for Keith Hargraves.
And last year, he only had one catch, and that was for a touchdown.
Yes, he did.
So it's just call him Touchdown Williams.
Marion Williams, at least according to the stats that are available to us, which obviously are not always 1,000% accurate. This is high school football. The stat keeping sometimes leaves a little to be desired at, various different publications or schools or whatever. Whoever's responsible for that stat keeping, isn't always 100% on point. But again, at least according to what we've been able to find about young Mr. Marion Williams, 5'10", 170-pound senior wide receiver for Kimball. He's had 3 receptions over the course of the 2018 and 2019 seasons, all 3 of them for touchdowns.
Touchdown Williams.
31-17 the tally as they come out for the onside kick here. 1:09 to play. There's a lot to ask here for Kimball, but it's not impossible. A high popped up extra. Oh, man. Nearly snagged by Kimball on that right sideline on the onside kick. A very well executed, by the way, onside kick. Look at the job to pop this up.
How?
Now, there is a technique. I'm not sure what he did here. It looks like he may have just pooched it up in the air. As
Kick out of bounds. Kimball. 5 yards from the end of the kick. First down. Stop.
And that will, of course, end the football game. No timeouts left for Kimball. And South Oak Cliff just a couple kneel downs away from ending this football game. But there's a technique where if you kind of tee the ball up directly up and down and kick down on the top of the football, you can pop it up in the air like that. But it looked to me like what was done there by Victor Navarro was he just kind of got under it and popped it up, which would allow for an onside kick.
Yeah, we call that a flop shot.
Exactly. As Keith Hargraves settles back in shotgun and slowly takes a knee with 1:03 on the clock here in the fourth quarter. And we are just about done here from Kincaide Stadium in what will go down as a 31-17 win for the South Oak Cliff Golden Bears. Again, they'll move to 5-1 in district play. The way the district standings shake out right now, Red Oak again still unbeaten, and it would appear that they'll probably finish unbeaten in district play. South Oak Cliff and Seagoville, the two teams with one loss. Kimball will fall to 3-3, but again, a win against Conrad next week would lock up a playoff berth for them, and it certainly would appear that's what is coming down the pike for this Kimball football team. One last kneel down for Keith Hargraves, and that'll do it. 31-17 the final score in favor of South Oak Cliff. They score 31 straight to answer a 10-0 start from Kimball, and they move to 7-2 on the year, 5-1 in district play with a 2-score win over Kimball. Again, most of it, Jonah, done on the ground. The vast majority of what South Oak Cliff, both of these football teams, were able to do tonight as South Oak Cliff gets a win on senior night here at Kincaide Stadium. A lot of their damage done on the ground.
I'm just hoping not to see any punches thrown here in the high five line, because this was a testy game for
there were moments
much of it.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of these kids are also friends, and
for sure,
between the lines, it's a different ball game. In terms of level of competition. But yeah, we got a good one. I mean, we saw some real great stuff from Cam Davis.
Cam Davis finishes. Here's the difference in the football game right here.
Yeah.
At halftime, if memory serves, Brandon Epton was 14 carries for 125 yards.
Oh, they shut
him
down in the second half.
Second half, shut down. 26 for 143 is where he finishes. So that's what, 12 carries for 18 yards.
Yep. Yeah, and you saw it.
And by contrast, Cam Davis was pretty bottled up in the first half. I think it was like 7 carries for 46 yards, if memory serves. He finishes 17 for 190.
Right. And Cam Davis is a guy his energy level at the end of the game is the same as it is from the start of it. And for a defense that gets exhausted over the course of a game, Cam Davis is a lot to handle come fourth quarter, and you saw it. He just broke off big run after big run. Whereas the Sauk defense just had a great game plan coming out, stayed gap sound.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a real good idea of what Kimball wanted to do running the ball based on the first half. They went in, said, hey, this is what they're doing. Let's just not let them do this anymore. Because there was only about a handful of rushing plays that Kimball liked to do. So Sauk defense made its adjustments and came away with a victory. I still don't think 14 points does Kimball justice, but
yeah,
that's the scoreboard.
31-17 the final. Raekwon Pinkston with a pair of touchdown runs as well, as he was the short yardage specialist tonight for South Oak Cliff. He finishes on the night with 7 carries for 42 yards and those 2 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Danaz Dunn 4 for 7 for 45 yards and a touchdown. That one touchdown, the 35-yard hookup with DeMarco Moon that kind of put this game on ice with under 3 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Epton, again, a fantastic night, but the vast majority of his damage done in the first half as Kimball built that early 10-0 lead. He finishes 26 carries, 143 yards and a touchdown. Keith Hargraves, 5 carries for 26 yards, but 6 of 19 through the air for just 59 yards, a touchdown and an interception. And I think you could make the argument could have been 2 or 3 interceptions the way that the game played out. Jeremiah Ross, 3 catches for 51 yards, led the way for South Oak Cliff. And all of that adds up to this 31-17 win for the Sauk Golden Bears. And this is a program that is used to being solid, if not better than solid. Last year, they were definitely better than solid. 11-1, only loss came to the eventual state champion, Aledo. This year, again, I don't know that they're quite on that level, but still, again, a very good football team that is very much playoff bound and has the potential to make a run in the 5A Division II playoffs yet again.
Yeah, I mean, they've certainly set a standard. I mean, after last year, that was such a great run for them. And I know they lost some upperclassmen since the transition out of this year, but I mean, Coach Todd's got them playing great defensive football, and with a number of options on offense who can run the ball, that'll serve them well come playoff time. because if they're not able to run the ball effectively, at least they can maybe lean on that defense until they can.
Yes. Meanwhile, for Kimball, again, a team that is likely still going to be in the playoffs. They play a Conrad team next week that they should beat if they take care of business, and that will give them a 4-3 district mark and move them into the postseason out of this District 6-5A Division II. I think there are positives to take away, certainly from the way they played, obviously in the first half, but again, things that you can learn from in the second half, and confidence, I think, built by giving Sock the run that they did tonight.
Yeah, we've talked about it over the course of the entire evening. There's talent there. I mean, and they've got potential to be better than good, but they have to clean up the little things, the penalties, the turnovers, the coach cliches. We saw it all tonight, and that's why they ended up losing the football game. So, I mean, if they can kind of, reel that in, play a little bit more disciplined, fundamental football, they'll get more wins. So they're close. I think they're really close.
31-17, the final score in favor of South Oak Cliff. They move to 7-2 on the year, 5-1 in district play. That's going to do it for us here from Kincaide Stadium. Our thanks to DISD Athletic Director Sylvia Salinos, Athletic Coordinators James Mays and Henry Kofer, and a shout out to both coaches as well for being so generous with their time and information about their football teams. Believe me, without their help and support, this broadcast is not possible. We also want to thank our sponsors, Texas Health Resources. Our engineer is Don Hazen. Our photographer is Ian Gordon. Our director this evening is Raul Garcia. Our digital coordinator back in Dallas is Nick Blackhall, and our executive producer is Sean Hamilton. For Jonah Javad here with me in the booth, I'm Mike Leslie. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Your final score one last time. South Oak Cliff knocks off Kimball 31-17. We will see you next week, as you can see right there on your screen here on Thursday Night Lights. A monster matchup between a pair of teams ranked in the state in 6A, DeSoto and Cedar Hill. We hope to see you then. So long from Kincaide Stadium, everyone. We'll see you.